Of course, it's the best 3 out of 5. Here's Joe Morgan stepping in. He got the collar last night. He went 0 for 4. Hit .230 on the year, 16 home runs and 59 RBIs. He's up there left-handed against the left-handed Fernando Valenzuela. The outfield shading to the right side, infield a little drawn in about straight away. First pitch hit on the ground to Sachs at second. Routine play to first. They got him. It goes 4 to 3. And just like that, 1 up and 1 down. Morgan bounces out to Sachs. That'll bring on Pete Rose, who went 1 for 4 last night and hit .245 for the season. No homers and 45 RBIs. Rose will hit right-handed. There's always been that strong argument. What does Pete do best? Hit better from the left side or the right side? And when you look at the overall record, it's pretty much even up. Deep in the box, bends at the knees, keeps swinging that bat, chokes up about an inch. Here's the pitch. Fernando misses outside for a ball. They play Rose a shade to the right side in the outfield. Again, the infield, Bill Russell in short at shortstop. The second baseman is back. The first baseman, Brock, about straight away. Rose takes one on the corner. Strike one. 1-1.
Jerry, I think it's worth mentioning that Pete has a 15-game hitting streak in League Championship Series.
All right. One of the all-time greats, no question about it, as he takes low. It's 2 balls and a strike. Rose, if you missed it last night, we talked about it at length. 3,990 base hits. 10 more for the 4,000 mark. If he gets it, he and Ty Cobb will be all by themselves in that plus 4,000 base hits. Rose waiting, the 2-1 pitch. And Pete takes a strike, 2-2. And we talked about this earlier, Duke. Rose does not seem to be a confident hitter the way he was in the past. He looks like he's feeling for the ball.
Well, Pete doesn't seem to have the bat speed that he once had and the ball not jumping off his bat, but he still has a good eye. He makes you throw strikes, and he'll grind out on a bat and get that occasional walk. He doesn't get as many walks as you'd like to see a type of hitter like Pete Rose get, because he chases most anything that's close to the strike zone.
All right, the 3-2 pitch coming up. It's on the way, and this one is low outside, ball 4. And I think we saw something on the 2-2 pitch. Fernando wanted it. Dick Stello may be squeezing that strike zone just a little bit on those pitches. So we'll watch that tonight as Rose gets a walk. Keeping down to first base.
Think about Pete. He has 7 stolen bases, but not a threat to steal. He usually goes, picks his spot.
And here's the man of the hour from last night, Mike Schmidt. No one knew it. In the first inning with 2 down, lofted one over the center field wall, and that won the ball game. Phillies beat the Dodgers 1-0. Fernando checking Rose at first. Schmidt waiting. Pitch on the way to Mike, and it's on the corner for a strike. Schmidt sort of turns his hip toward the pitcher. Toes in that front foot, the left one. Curls around, ready to go, checks the outfield again. They've swung off to the left side and deep. Infield, fairly shallow double play depth. 1 down, we're in the top of the first inning, no score, just underway. Schmidt takes strike 2, and Fernando got him twice on the inside corner.
Don Drysdale once told me that the toughest hitters for him to pitch to were the guys that you would see their number as you delivered the ball. That means that they weren't going to give any ground up there.
Schmidt back in there again. 40 home runs during the season. 1 last night, 41 for 1983. Rose off at first. The pitch on the way to Schmidt. Curveball outside. A ball and 2 strikes. That was high. Pedro Guerrero at third base. Bill Russell a shortstop. Steve Sachs at second. Greg Brock playing first base tonight, holding against Rose. Jack Pimple, and that's F as in Frank, I-M-P-L-E. A young rookie came up in the middle of the year and has done an excellent job behind the plate. He's catching tonight. Schmidt waits again. Here's the pitch by Fernando. The screwball low. It got it in the wrong spot. That was down and in. And believe me, Mike Schmidt is a good low ball hitter.
Well, that's what he said in the paper today and in his interview last night, that he's a notorious low ball hitter. If you get the ball out over the plate, and especially he can extend those arms like he did last night and drive one to center or left center.
Here's Fernando again at the set. Checks Rose again. The pitch on the way to Schmidt. Struck him out on a screwball and made him look bad doing it. Schmidt feeling for the ball, had an awkward swing. He's down. So Mike Schmidt, second out here in the first inning, walks away. The first strikeout ball Fernando, and that'll bring on Sixto Lezcano. Lezcano Same teams in midseason went from the San Diego Padres to the Phillies. Overall, 8 home runs, 56 RBIs, a .239 hitter for the season, went 1 for 3 last night with a base on balls. Rose just watching at first base. Darren Johnson, the first base coach for Philadelphia, and over at third, Dave Bristol. Here's a pitch on the way to Lezcano. Good for a strike, a breaking ball, and Fernando on top of his pitches this evening.
He has very good control. He walked Rose, but a couple of pitches very close in that walk.
Fernando again at the set. A look at Rose, the kick high, the pitch. Fastball missed inside to Lezcano. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, the lights are on, but still plenty of daylight. A beautiful evening. Perfect weather for baseball. Outstanding. Again, Fernando set. Here's a left-handed delivery to Lezcano. Fastball misses inside, and Fernando going up and down and moving the ball in and out and changing speed. 2 balls and a strike. He has a variety, the screwball, the slider, the slow curve, the changeup, and a pretty good hummer. 2 balls and a strike. He kicks and delivers. Lezcano checks his swing and takes strike 2. So Fernando is ahead of the hitters right now from a standpoint of the thought process. They're not thinking with him at all. Lezcano coils at the plate, bends at the waist and the knees. There goes Rose. They got him picked off. The throw by Brock, not in time. Rose steals it. Rose started going when Fernando threw to first. Rose was halfway to second. Brock had no chance. He just ate the ball. Give a stolen base to Pete.
That's what we talked about last night with Carlson pitching. That's the way that the good base runners steal on Carlson. They take off when that foot comes up in the air and beat the throw to second base. That's what Rose did. He's had it done to him, so he thought he'd try it.
2-2 pitch to Lezcano coming up. Hit deep, left field. Going back is Baker on the warning track in front of the wall. Makes the play at the wall. Lezcano drove Baker to the 370 mark for the third out and almost put 2 on the board. In the middle of the first inning, Philadelphia nothing. Dodgers coming up. 30-year-old right-hander John Denny, coming off for Philadelphia, finished strong with a 19-6 record, and almost to a man, people say that is the 1983 Cy Young Award winner, symbolic of the best pitcher in the National League for 1983. Denny at 30 had a record of 19-6, an excellent ERA of 2.37. Overall, 94-77 in the major leagues, 0-2 against the Dodgers. Let's run through the defense for you quickly. Mike Schmidt at third base, checking it out with Doug Harvey, the umpire down there. Ivan De Jesus, the shortstop. Joe Morgan at second. Pete Rose holding fourth at first base. Bo Diaz is the catcher. In the outfield and left, Gary Matthews, Gary Maddox in center field, and sixth fielder Lezcano on right. And now Steve Sachs comes on. A little pepper pot, hit .281 for the season. 3 for 4 last night, had 5 homers and 41 RBIs during 83. First pitch by Denny. Hit in the air. Backing up. Gary Maddox waiting for it. Routine play. 1 pitch, 1 away. So that takes Sachs out of there, and that's a good man to take out of there.
This broadcast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited.
Left-hand power hitter Greg Brock hitting in the 2 spot, and that seemed to be a surprise to a lot of people. They said, what's a big guy like that who's an RBI man doing in that back control position up front? Well, a lot of people feel because he's left-handed, if Sachs gets on, he'll give him a good chance to steal because it blocks out the runner moving on the first few steps as Brock takes a curveball in there for a strike. And also he's got that big hole to hit through on the left side.
Well, he's not a speedster, but he runs fairly well for a big man. Look out.
Brock, with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike, hit 20 home runs, 66 RBIs, had a .224 batting average. Last night, went 0 for 1. Denny delivers, and there's a chip that goes on the left side. Diaz tried to play it into a fair ball, but no chance. The count is a ball and 2 strikes. So Diaz came out of there pretty good. Like your own Gary Carter up in Montreal, he comes out of there pretty quick.
Well, you know, I can think back to Yogi Berra, probably one of the best coming from behind the plate, fielding bunts.
No question about it. The old Yogi, he got out there in a hurry. Has that rifle arm. Here's the pitch on the way to Brock. Low and in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Incidentally, if you missed it, in the American League Championship Series in Baltimore, amidst a rain delay and a lot of inclement weather, the White Sox beat Baltimore 2-1 in the first of the best 3 out of 5. Curve ball in there to Brock. He walks away, strike 3. Didn't offer it the ball. So Brock totally fooled. You know, in a spot like that, dude, you got to be guarding the plate. That was a fat curveball right over the middle.
It wasn't a good curve because it was flat, and it was up in the hitting area to where if you're on the ball, you can hit that ball a long way to left center.
Sometimes that first at-bat isn't a real experience.
I think Greg's a little nervous.
Here's Dusty Baker stepping in. 1 for 4 last night. Right-hand hitter against the right-handed Denny. And Denny with a good changeup, good breaking ball, and enough of a fastball to zip it by you. Here's Denny into the windup. Pitch coming on. Big roundhouse curve. Got in there for a strike. 1-1. The story on John Denny. What happened in 1983 to give him a 19-6 record? They say attitude, attitude, attitude. Fastball outside, 2-1. He was a guy who lost his cool in a hurry, and they said this year he settled down, accepted things as they came, and became an outstanding pitcher. Ground ball to the shortstop. DeJesus, he can't handle it, into left field. That should go as an error as the ball dribbles out toward the left fielder, and the center fielder, Gary Maddox, comes in to recover, and they're charging an error on DeJesus.
You know the thing about this field, we mentioned, it is not smooth, and that time DeJesus did not stay down on the ball. The ball went right under his glove. He expected a hop, and he didn't get it.
That's the first error in the series, incidentally. Last night's ball game was played in excellent fashion, although a couple of bad hops.
They had 1 error last night, Jer.
I missed that then. I didn't put it down on my... You're right. The last play of the game. You're absolutely right. Here's Pedro Guerrero taking strike 1. I'll have to put an eraser right here where it says Philadelphia and it says Z and put 1 down there. Absolutely. Darrell Thomas, safe on the air by Schmidt. Throw to first base and Baker goes back. 1 strike to count on Guerrero. 0 for 2 last night. He walked a couple of times. This is the big man. They try to pitch around him if they can. Then he delivers. Big curveball almost hit Guerrero, and it's inside for 1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield to the left side and deep, and the infield way over there. Schmidt has to be 20 feet behind the bag and off the line by about 8. DeJesus in the hole. Morgan almost on second base. There's a dribbler foul down the third base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think the pressure in this game has to be on the Dodgers. They need this win. They can ill afford to go to Philadelphia 2 behind in a 5-game series, so a little extra pressure on them. Denny, of course, it looks like his breaking ball's a little bit lazy early in the game. He's got to get a little more snap on that curveball and slider.
And that was one of the things pitching coach Claude Osteen said he had picked up on. He had sharpened up the breaking ball.
Right.
Here's Guerrero waiting. Fastball. Went for the corner, missed outside. 2-2. Coaching at third, Joe Amalfitano, and at first base, Manny Mota for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Runner at first. Moving off, Dusty Baker, then going back again. Checking Denny, who's getting the sign from his catcher, Bo Diaz. A long look. Guerrero just kind of standing and not in a hitting position. Now steps in, ready to go. Denny at the set again. Sets Baker. Throws to first, and Baker gets back. The umpire at first, John McSherry. Plate umpire, and the umpire-in-chief today is Dick Stello. Lee Wire at second, Doug Harvey at third. Here's the pitch coming up. Denny delivers. It's fouled off by Guerrero. Off into the upper deck on the right side. Umpiring down the right field line, Terry Tata. Tata was a plate umpire last night. And on the left field line, it's Jerry Crawford. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the first inning, no score. The pitch coming up to Guerrero. Foul back again, and Guerrero tried to flat-foot Denny, and the ball got by him.
You know, you see more and more of that in the Philadelphia lineup. They've got a couple of hitters, Bo Diaz and Gary Maddox, who hit the flat-footed a lot. I've never seen Guerrero do that until this at-bat.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Denny delivers. Slow curve, hits Guerrero in the back, and that's the pitch. Duke, that he's having trouble with the breaking ball.
It is. He's very wild with it. That time inside, he almost hit Guerrero earlier in this at-bat with the same pitch.
Down to second base, Jesse Baker. At first base, Pedro Guerrero. 2 down, bottom of the first inning, and here's Kenny Landreau. Landreau second in the league in game-winning RBIs with 16. Overall, hit .281. 17 homers, 66 RBIs. He went 0 for 3 last night. Runners moving up from first to second. Landreau takes a curve, low and inside, and Denny fighting that breaking ball. He's having a battle out there right now.
Well, this is Denny's first appearance in postseason play. He's got to have some butterflies, too.
Denny's at the set. Here's the next pitch to Landreau. Hard ground ball up the middle, base hit. Here comes Baker. He's going to score. Dodgers take the lead 1-0. Landreau, a much different hitter against a right-handed pitcher, and he showed it right there. Had a very good swing, hit the ball hard up through the middle, and the Dodgers scored their first run in this league championship series. Takes the lead. And again, the air opened up the doors when Ivan De Jesus missed the ball from Dusty Baker, a grounder with 2 down. It set up the stage for Kenny Landreau with runners at first and second to drive in the first run. Mike Marshall coming up. They call him the strong boy. .284 batter for the year, 0 for 4 last night. Had 17 homers and 65 RBIs. And overcame a severe beating early in the year. Here's a pitch on the way to Marshall. Big curve, misses again.
Jerry, I was here when that happened. Jeff Reardon was pitching for the Expos, and Marshall was hit in the side of the head. It caught most of the helmet, but he was in the hospital for several days because of it. It was not an intentional pitch. Reardon visited him in the hospital and apologized, of course.
The fastball to Marshall was in there for a strike. We've got a 1-1 count. Runners moving off first to second. The next pitch, curveball hits foul on the third base side, and it's now a ball and 2 strikes to Mike Marshall, hitting in the 6th spot. I know one thing. When you get beaned, it takes a while to overcome it, and sometimes you never get over it.
Did you ever get beaned?
Twice. Certain pitchers, right to the end of my career, bothered me.
Wow.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down. Pitch coming up to Marshall. Started after the breaking ball, laid off. It goes 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, it woke me up, too, I'll tell you that.
I got hit everywhere but in the head.
It doesn't hurt. You're just on the ground and you say, hey, how did I get down here? 2-2 pitch coming up. Marshall lost one to straightaway center. Coming on fast is Maddox. He's got it, and that takes care of the Dodgers. But they pick up an unearned run here in the first inning. At the end of 1, it's the Dodgers 1, the Phillies nothing. Special greetings from all of us at CBS Radio to those of you around the world listening to the playoffs on Armed Forces Radio. Hope you enjoy it. And now we go to the second inning. The Dodgers have taken a 1-0 lead. It'll be Gary Matthews, Gary Maddox, and Bo Diaz going after Fernando Valenzuela. And I'm sure the boys on the bench at Dodger Stadium said, okay, Fernando, there's your lead. Let's see what you can do with it.
There's your 1 run. Hold him.
Matthews stepping in 0 for 4 last night. Hit .258 for the year. Goes after the first pitch, checks the swing, and he takes a strike. There's the screwball, a good one. Matthews, 10 home runs, 50 RBIs. Pitch on the way to Gary. Fouled off, strike 2.
I think a lot of people might wonder just exactly how difficult it is to hit the screwball. The ball will, as a right-handed batter, it will go down and away from you. It has a lot of spin on it, and it's very difficult to hit in the air. So if you try to pull it, well, you're going to swing over the top of it.
Matthews takes outside this time, the screwball. A little more hum on that one, and it missed outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
And the plus for Fernando is he throws it at different speeds, not all one speed.
The 1-2 pitch. Matthews waits on the tip of that leg. There's a drive to left field. We're going to have a tie ball game. The Phillies tie it up on a home run by Gary Matthews. Wow.
I don't know if that was a screwball or not, but it was the inner part of the plate. Look, it was down. Looked like it might have been a fastball. We'll probably get a replay of it. But Matthews got all of it, hit it halfway up in the bleachers.
Gary Matthews, a dangerous batter, 10 home runs for the year. Puts one over the wall in left field, and I mean no question about it. A solid shot as Fernando will go now after Gary Maddox. Well, Sixto Lizcano, the last out of the first inning, came very close.
He did that. It was right at the base of the wall, some 370 feet away.
Maddox goes after the first pitch, a high curve, and it swung on a miss, strike one. Gary Maddox 1 for 4 last night, hitting a .275 for the year. Not a power hitter. 4 home runs, 32 RBIs all season. Maddox checks the swing, and he takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Gary Matthews ties it up in a hurry with a boomer over the left field wall. It's all even at 1. Nobody out. Top of the second inning. Phillies batting. 1-1 pitch. Line drive, base hit off of Valenzuela to left field, and they're tagging him right now.
Now, Maddox used the flat-footed stance. His feet spread quite a ways apart, and that's not too bad of a way to approach Fernando with that screwball. Then you won't overstride. You won't get out in front too quick.
Runner at first base, 1 run in. Nobody out here in the second for Philadelphia, and Bo Diaz, the catcher, moving in. Diaz 0 for 3 last night. Hit a .236 for the season, but he's got power. 15 home runs, 64 RBI. Crouches way down, points that front foot almost toward the pitcher. Leans back on the back foot, and the throw's to first base. Maddox goes back.
You know, Fernando's 2-3 lifetime with a 2.73 ERA against the Phillies, so Phillies have given him some trouble.
Valenzuela kicks and fires away, and Diaz takes outside. I will say that what I saw of Valenzuela in '83, he struggled for almost every game that he pitched. He was battling, fought his way along, stayed in a lot of games, finished a lot of games, but it was a struggle. So we'll see what this one turns in. Here's a runner at first, nobody out. Diaz waiting. The 1-0 pitch to Bo. On the hit and run, the bat is thrown, and the ball goes flying on the left side. The bat ends out toward first base.
Well, the Padres had very good success against the Dodgers this year, and I would assume against Valenzuela.
You know, I'm not sure exactly how it went, but I think Fernando against the Padres lifetime is just around 500. Not an awesome figure.
He's beaten somebody.
You got it right. You know, one thing, though, his lifetime ERA before this year was 2.62, and this season, 3.75. Now, that's more than a run more a game he's given up, and that's a lot. Diaz deep in the box, waiting again. Fernando at the set, kicks high to pitch. Chopper on the third base side, foul. That goes over Dave Bristol's head and down the line. 1-2. Fernando sailed through the first inning, although he did give up a walk to Pete Rose. And then suddenly here in the second, a home run by Matthews, a solid single by Maddox. Diaz battling with a count of 1-2 strikes. Fernando Valenzuela again at the set. The left-hander a long look at first and throws over there.
You know what they're saying about Fernando? He came up here, and now at the age of 22, he realized that this isn't just a game of fun, but it's a business. And now all of a sudden he's starting to think.
$1 million a year.
Hey, that's a tough thing for any of us to do, to start to think when we're out there playing this game of baseball.
There's a ground ball to the shortstop. Russell shovels it over to Sachs. Back to first. They get the double play. Bill Russell made a good pass to Steve Sachs. Maddox was all over him, and Sachs got rid of it nicely with an accurate throw to first. 2 down, 1 run in, and the batter will be Ivan De Jesus. The play going 6-4-3 for keeping book. About as sweet as you'll see on the double play, Duke. And, you know, neither one of these ball clubs has been overly outstanding in the double play department.
Well, Sachs has had problems throwing to first base when Russell shoveled that ball underhand to him, but he had something on it. He gave it to him about chest high.
All right, stepping in now is De Jesus, who lines one foul on the first base side. No balls, 1 strike, 2 down. De Jesus 0 for 3 last night, right-hand hitter. Hit .254 for the season. Fastball inside, almost got him in the knee, and he backed off. 1 ball, 1 strike. De Jesus against the Dodgers, a .222 hitter in 1983. No homers and only 1 RBI. De Jesus is not what you consider a great offensive player. And there's one on the outside part of the plate for a strike. 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 down. Here's the pitch coming up. De Jesus checks the swing. He asks for an appeal from the first base umpire. He says no, and it's 2-2. You know, when you think about good hitting shortstop, Cal Ripken of Baltimore, Robin Yount with Milwaukee, but the young man who had turned everybody's eyes in this league was Dickie Thon with Houston.
Dickie Thon had a great year, and the Angels gave him up. They need a shortstop very bad right now.
2-2 pitch chopped away by De Jesus. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Thon hit 20 home runs. He's a shortstop and led the league in game-winning RBIs. And that's one of the best performances we've seen by a shortstop offensively in some time here in the National League. Gary Templeton, when he was in St. Louis, had some big years. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. All even, 1 apiece. The Phillies got a home run from Gary Matthews. Dodgers got a run in the first inning on an error, a hit batter, and a single by Kenny Landreau.
The Tigers got a pretty good shortstop now in Trammell.
2 balls, 2 strikes, way outside of De Jesus.
I might be using the wrong words there and saying pretty good. Fantastic might be the better word.
Got some pretty good numbers.
Yes,
3-2 pitch to De Jesus. Outside ball 4. And Valenzuela, for the second time tonight, is showing a lot of upsets from the plate umpire, Dick Stello. Second time, he just put his hand on his hips and walked away as if to say, come on, let's go.
You know, there are certain umpires that pitchers and umpires just don't seem to work together. Maybe Dick Stello is one of those umpires for Valenzuela. I know Steve Rogers, the great pitcher he is with the Expos, why he has trouble with Lanny Harris. Whenever Lanny Harris umpires, Rogers seems to have a bad night.
All right, here is John Denny batting at 169 for the year. First pitch swung on a miss for a strike. Some umpires do shorten up the strike zone. They squeeze it, as we say, and others get it a little bit longer and some tight. In this case, Fernando wanted a couple of pitches, did not get it. The 1-strike pitch to Denny outside, 1-1.
I think the umpires were former pitchers in their childhood. The guys that are pitchers umpires, and the fellows that are hitters are the hitters umpires.
Fernando, 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 down, 1-1 ball game. Second inning, throws to first base, and De Jesus goes back.
Frank Pulley, probably the best pitchers umpire in the National League. I kid him all the time. I say, you had to be a pitcher when you were a kid. Biggest strike zone as you got.
The 1-1 delivery now. The kick end of the pitch is low and inside, and suddenly Fernando's fallen behind the hitter, and it's John Denny, the opposing pitcher. This is the guy you want to blow away, and he's fallen behind. 2 balls and a strike.
Denny not known for his hitting. He has a couple of RBIs and a double this year.
2 balls and a strike. Valenzuela kicks and fires as a high pop-up first base side, and now coming back and drifting into the seat. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tomorrow's game, check that, Friday's game will be in Philadelphia at Veterans Stadium. We'll be on the air at 2:55 Eastern Time, and will be Charlie Hudson and Bob Welch, 2 right-handers. Welch had himself a big year, 15-12. Hudson, 8-7, but a pretty good pitcher when he's hot. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch to Denny. Curveball inside, and Fernando's all over the place right now. He's just suddenly lost all of that sharpness he had in the first inning. He's battling out there.
If he should lose Denny and walk him, why, I'm sure Farinowski will go to the mound and try and straighten him out.
John Denny has run the count 3-2. De Jesus will be on the move. Rock is playing way behind him. He's going to say, go ahead and go for it. Here's the 3-2 pitch. There goes the runner. Drive, left center field. Baker's after it. He's got it. Nice play by Dusty Baker, cutting into the gap to haul it in, and Denny's gone on a line drive to left. In the middle of the second inning, the score, Philadelphia 1, Los Angeles 1. The artistry of last night's pitching battle between Jerry Royce and Steve Carlton, not evident tonight as yet, as both pitchers are struggling. We've got a 1-1 ball game. We're in the bottom of the second now, and the bottom third of the Dodger lineup coming on. Bill Russell, Jack Semple, the catcher, and then Fernando Valenzuela, a pretty good hitting pitcher.
You know, Jerry, I think possibly it's going to take Denny a couple of innings to settle down. Maybe Fernando, too, as Fernando had a very shaky second inning. But Denny, the type of pitcher that usually gets better as he goes along. Remember back to great pitchers, Sal Magley, who pitched for the New York Giants. You go back to Bob Gibson, a Hall of Famer. They all had trouble in the first inning. Koufax had a problem in the first inning.
Gaylord Perry was a terrible pitcher early. And when he got past the second inning, he was on his way.
Look out.
All right, Bill Russell stepping in. Bill takes the first pitch in there for a strike. He went 1 for 3 last night, hit .246 for the year, had 1 home run and 30 RBIs in 83. Curveball, and he was way out front of the slow curveball. That's the one that Denny wants to get over. No balls and 2 strikes.
And that's the type of pitcher you can make a lot of mistakes with because you throw it so slow and it's tough to control it.
Denny tried to upend Russell with a fastball on the outside corner, and he missed. It's ball 1, strike 2. Russell leading off the second, a 1-1 ball game. Fastball on the corner. Strike 3, and Bill walks away. And believe me, Denny nailed the exact perfect spot to get Bill Russell. Good pitch.
Breaking ball low and away. That's the way they say to pitch most hitters. High and tight, low and away. High and tight with a fastball, low and away with a curve.
You know, the thing that saves hitters, and this is a truism, if the pitcher could put the ball every place that he wanted to put it, no one would ever get a hit.
That's right.
Here's Jack Simple, a youngster brought up from Albuquerque in midseason, and what a job he has done. 2 home runs, 22 RBIs. He hit .250. And I asked manager Tommy Lasorda before the ball game, I said, are you going to call the pitches? He said, nope, he calls them. And that's a lot of reliability to give to a youngster. Simple has run the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
He saved the Dodgers. Socia out for the year. Yeager was out for quite a while. He came up and did the job.
Simple after the curveball, swung on it and missed. A ball and 2 strikes. And Denny's starting to heat up a little bit here and look more like the Denny that won 19 ball games. Simple, closed stance, moves the bat back slowly and waits. From the right side, outside, the ball misses. 2-2. They play Simple a little to the left side, not a lot. They give him a little bit of right center and some of the right field line. Denny again into the windup. The right-hander fires away, and this one is shot on the right field side, but foul, slicing into the stand. Dodger Stadium is 330 down each line with a short 4-foot wall. It runs out about 60 to 70 feet. Then it goes up about 8 feet, and it goes to 360, 370, 385, to dead center 395. Here's the pitch to Simple. Curveball, strike 3 called. He walks away. And there's that breaking ball, Duke, doing some job right now.
Well, he's starting to get the harder curve over the plate more consistently with the slider and mixing a fastball in and throwing that rainbow, I like to call it, that real slow curve. And when you hit with that, too, why, it really keeps the hitters honest. You can't just look for one particular type of pitch.
It moves that right-hand hitter off the plate in a hurry, and if you get the ball inside, you might get hurt, but if you can move it to the center or away, you'll leave him standing there most times. Here's Fernando from the left side. Batted 187 this year. Pretty good hitting pitcher, and he takes high for a ball. Denny again working rapidly now. Seems to have gained some confidence. Fires low and inside to Fernando, 2-0. So John Denny returning the favor in kind of Fernando, falling behind. Here's a 2-0 pitch. And it's 3-0. I don't know what's going on, but the pitchers are having trouble pitching to their counterparts.
Well, sometimes you think you have a little bit of a breather when a pitcher comes up, and you relax just a bit, and then you become wild.
And there's ball 4. He wasn't even close, and down to first base goes Fernando. A 2-out base on balls to balance away. The first walk given up by Denny. John Denny started in St. Louis. Stayed there 4 or 5 years, went on to Cleveland for 3, and then traded over to the Phillies in the middle of 1982. He's had some pretty good years. In fact, at the age of 23, he became one of 3 youngest men ever to win the ERA title in the National League. He followed Lon Warnke in 1932, Bill Doak in 1914, and Jeff Tercero, I guess, in 1912. I can get that one out of there.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, well, we could have called him Brown. Here's Steve Stack moving in. Balance away at first base. 2 down. Third ball right in there. Stack tried to turn on the ball. It got the inside corner. And you're talking about a good old-fashioned country roundhouse curveball that Denny's throwing right now.
And, you know, it starts right at you as a hitter and then breaks over the plate, but your first reaction is that it's not going to break that much and it's going to hit you. After Guerrero got hit by one, why, it opened some eyes.
Curveball hit on the ground to third. Schmidt grabs it, makes the toss, off balance to first. Sachs is gone, and so are the Dodgers. At the end of 2 innings, it's Philadelphia 1, Los Angeles 1. Fernando Valenzuela, who is on base on that final out, takes a little time to get organized, and he'll be facing the top of the order again for Philadelphia. It'll be Joe Morgan, Pete Rose, and Mike Schmidt. If you missed the scoring in the first inning with 2 down, the Dodgers up. Dusty Baker safe on an error by Ivan De Jesus, the shortstop. Pedro Guerrero was hit by a pitch to send Baker to second, and then Landreau shot a single up the middle to score Baker. Dodgers 1, Phillies nothing. But in the second inning, that didn't last long. Gary Matthews, the first batter up, hit a shot over the left field wall around the 370 mark, and it became a 1-1 ball game. And that's where we settle in right now into the third, with Morgan stepping in to hit for Philadelphia. Fernando continues his warm-up tosses and now concludes them. We're waiting for the ball to be thrown down to second base. Pedro Guerrero coming in to chat with Fernando. Bill Russell, the shortstop, takes the pitch, tosses it over to Guerrero, and Valenzuela now will get set here to go after Morgan. Morgan bounced out to second on the first pitch of the ball game in the first inning.
So Joe usually grinds out an at-bat, tries for that walk, but he got a pitch up that he liked and a little bit too anxious, hit the ball on the end of the bat towards second base.
Morgan is one of 3 people to win the Most Valuable Player Award back-to-back, and 2 of them are on the Philadelphia Ball Club. Joe did it, Mike Schmidt did it, and Ernie Banks did it with the Cubs. And that's not so bad.
He was 40 years old, and on September 19th, he had 2 home runs on his birthday.
Well, I tell you, there's a guy who said, if this is going to be the last hurrah, it's going to be a good one, and off he went. First pitch with a strike to Joe. Outfield shades him to the right side. Infield is over there as well, as Morgan takes another strike. Morgan regularly would hit 300, steal over 50 bases, drive in 100 runs, get 100 base on balls, and score 100 runs. And hit about 25 home runs. Tremendous athlete when he was with Cincinnati, having his big years. Pitch is outside to Joe, a ball and 2 strikes. Outfield waiting, fairly deep. Valenzuela kicks high. The 1-2 pitch strikes him out. Morgan after a slider didn't get it. Strike 3. For Fernando, that is his second strikeout. Morgan goes down swinging. That'll bring up Pete Rose, who walked in the first inning. Has not been charged with an official at-bat in this game as yet.
Again, that's a tough pitch for a left-handed batter. That pitch low and away, about knee-high on the outside corner. He's trying to get a good pitch to hit, and if the pitcher's pitch, tough pitch to get in the air anyway.
Valenzuela again kicks and fires, and Rose hits one foul third base side, grabbed by Dave Bristol. You know, one thing about Valenzuela, Tommy Lasorda has given him the option of almost taking himself out of a ball game. He'll go longer and farther with Valenzuela than almost any pitcher I've ever seen, and it has paid off time and time again. The one strike pitch to Rose. Outside on the corner, strike 2.
I think you have to give Fernando that extra confidence sometimes, and the confidence builder is to stay with him a little bit longer. He's still a youngster. He's been around, it seems like, forever now, but he's just 22 years old, still a baby.
Here's a 2-strike pitch to Rose, and it's low, 1-2. Well, the guy who has been around forever is the 1963 Rookie of the Year. He's up at home plate now, Pete Rose.
Remember when he used to have a crew cut?
Yeah, played second base.
I played against him when he was a Red. He played second base, had that crew cut.
Here's the 1-2 pitch coming up. Rose hits a comebacker. Fernando grabs it. He's gone. A solid drive that Fernando picked off before it hit the ground. They've got 2 outs. Mike Schmidt, who struck out and looked rather bad doing it in the first inning, stepped in. Schmidt certainly one of the game's great players, and he is destined. And you can say this sometimes about some people, but about Mike Schmidt, unless he just quits, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he will be, and he's had 2 lifetime home runs off Fernando, one this year, and he took him deep to right field.
Fernando, watching and waiting, has a sign. Winds and kicks and delivers. Missed the corner outside for a ball. Fernando will look straight up at the sky sometimes just before he delivers, and if you're a hitter, that's got to be a little bit unnerving.
Remember Vinegar Ben Mizell used to kick his foot way up in the air, looking straight up in the air, and all of a sudden here came the ball.
The 1-0 pitch. low and inside to Schmidt. 2 balls, no strikes.
As a hitter, you take a white handkerchief up and wave that here's home plate. Right here, Vinegar. He's now a congressman.
Yeah, right. I'm from Arkansas, I guess, right? It's one of those southern states.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 down.
He should have been that earlier.
And this one is on the corner to Smith. 2 balls and 1 strike. I noticed all the pitchers that you didn't like are all left-handed.
Well, a few. Just a few.
Join the club. We all feel about the same. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 down. Outfield fairly deep. Fernando, the 2-1 pitch to Schmidt. Fouls it back. First good cut that Mike has had from Fernando. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
How would you feel if the opposing manager brought a guy in from the bullpen and as he talked to him on the mound, walked towards home plate and said, this guy is wild high and inside the left-handed hitters, and chuckles and goes back to the bench, the left-hander, and the first pitch hits the screen and back to home plate?
Time to retire.
Fred Haney did that to me.
2-2 pitch, fouled back by Schmidt, who was the left-hander.
Lemmy Douglas.
That's a name that is not known.
It's not a household name, right?
Say not. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down.
Said he's blind in his left eye, and he doesn't see left-handed hitters at all up there.
Ryan Duran did that to a few right-handers in his day. 2 balls and 2 strikes coming on to Schmidt. Hit the left field high, but does not have the carry. Going back in front of the warning track is the left fielder, Dusty Baker. He grabs it, and that closes out the Phillies in the 3rd inning. In the middle of the 3rd, it's Philadelphia 1, Los Angeles 1. At Dodger Stadium, a big round here, and applause as they announce on the board that the leading team in the National League Championship Series for wins are the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have won 4 and have not lost. We mentioned earlier that the Phillies in 4 series tries in the National League Championship Series have won 1. That was in 1980 when they went all the way, and they have lost 3.
Got your name up on the message board.
I haven't thrown things at us yet, so I guess we can get into the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Right.
For the Dodgers, it'll be Greg Brock, Dusty Baker, and Pedro Guerrero. We've got a 1-1 ball game. Dodgers got a run on the 1st. Phillies got a home run from Gary Matthews in the 2nd, and now we're on our way at a 1-1 clip. Greg Brock struck out on the 1st inning from the left side, facing the right-handed John Denny, 30 years old and having the best year he ever had. Throws the curveball. It's fouled away by Brock, and it's strike 1.
Greg Brock was saying yesterday that his problem has been adjusting to the off-speed pitch. He said in the minor leagues, you don't see that many pitchers that can get that pitch over consistently, and you get a lot of fastballs to hit. He has not been able to adjust as yet, but he feels that he's making a lot of progress.
Well, he's been served 2 breaking balls. The count is 1-1. Here's the next one, which is a fastball. Chops to the right side. Morgan is up with it over to first to Rose, and that's all for Brock. He got on top of the ball, hit it straight down. It took 2 big kangaroo hops, and Morgan put him away. The play goes 4-3. 1 away. Dodgers gone here in the 3rd inning. They'll bring on Dusty Baker. Baker safe on the air with 2 down in the 1st inning that led to a Dodger run. Phillies 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error. The Dodgers 1 run, 1 hit, and no error. Baker waiting, and the pitch on the way. Fastball chopped at the plate for a strike, and John Denny, at least from the way it looks from here, is starting to get into a pretty good groove out there.
Jerry, haven't you found in the past that a breaking ball type pitcher eventually will give you some pitches to hit?
There's a line drive to center field off the bat of Baker, and grabbing it is Gary Maddox. Very definitely. I think a breaking ball pitcher tends to get the ball up after a while, and he'll serve one in there. In fact, I thought Lamar Hoyt, pitching for the White Sox, started to get up high, but he managed to get the ball down again and held on to win 2-1 as the White Sox beat Baltimore in that first game in the American League.
Notice that it's easy to make a mistake with a breaking ball. You might drop down a little bit and flatten it out a little. That's the pitch that has hit me written all over it.
Here's Pedro Guerrero. He's been up a lot, but not officially. 0 for 2 last night. He was hit by a pitch this evening in his first at-bat. He picks ball 1. He's the big man for the Dodgers, the one who really kept this club rolling with his punch. 32 home runs, 103 RBIs, and he takes a curveball for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 down, last half of the third inning. Phillies won, the Dodgers won. Another tight one. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 gone. Outfield deep and to the left, infield way back as well. Guerrero, rather a deliberate hitter. He takes a lot of time. Guerrero, rather a deliberate hitter. He takes a lot of time. Now he's in there, bends at the knees, holds the bat on the end, waits in the pitch. Outside, a slider didn't get in there. 2-1. Here's the guy the Dodgers about 4 or 5 years ago felt could not hit enough because he couldn't handle a curveball. Thought it was just a dead fastball hitter, but he has certainly overcome that.
One of the best hitters in the National League right now.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 down. Rose wide of first base, about 20 feet off the line and way back. The 2-1 pitch to Guerrero. On the corner for strike 2. And Denny pinpointing that ball. He's doing an excellent job right now. Found a perfect spot for Guerrero, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 down and nobody on. Denny again winds and deals, and the pitch, curveball hit high. Shallow left center, going back to shortstop. Say, Jesus, he's got it. Yvonne got back to put it away. Dodgers are gone in the third inning, and at the end of 3, the score, Philadelphia 1, the Dodgers 1. At Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, it's the 4th inning coming up, and it'll be Sixto Lezcano, Gary Matthews, and Gary Maddox going after Fernando Valenzuela in a 1-1 ball game. The Dodgers down 1-0 to the Phillies, who beat them last night on a home run by Mike Schmidt in the first inning, and that was the scoring. Philadelphia 1, Dodgers 0. Simply feel they have to win this ball game if they're going to stay alive in the National League Championship Series. They do not want to go to Philadelphia with 3 games to play, trailing 0-2. So this is a mighty big ball game for the Dodgers. Incidentally, tomorrow night's opposing pitchers Bob Welch against Charlie Hudson. Make that Friday night's opposing pitchers. Thursday night, we're going to have the American League all by themselves, starting at 8:20 Eastern Time with Kurt Gowdy and Ernie Harwell from Baltimore. The White Sox and the Birds go at it again. Sixto Lezcano stepping in, lined out to left field fairly deep in the first inning. He took Baker right through the wall at the 370 mark. Lezcano checks the curveball and takes it strike 1. Right-hand batter, Sixto started with Milwaukee, went on to St. Louis, to San Diego, and now with Philadelphia, 4th club he's been with. Through ball outside to Lezcano, 1 ball, 1 strike. Right-hand batter, compact player, good defensive outfielder, doesn't run well, but he does everything else pretty good. The 1-1 pitch to Lezcano on the way, breaking ball inside, 2-1.
Does he have a good eye at the plate?
Pretty good. He's a fairly good selective hitter. He's not the kind of a guy who goes up thrashing and swinging. He will go after bad high fastballs. That's the one flaw. He'll chase those a little. The 2-1 pitch coming up to Sixto. Stopper on the third base side. Guerrero up with it. He makes the play to first. Lezcano out. The play going 5-3. 1 up, 1 down. 4th inning for Philadelphia. And now the man who evened up the ball game with 1 pop, Gary Matthews, steps up. With his first hit in the series, he went 0 for 4 last night. Valenzuela let one get away, and Matthews got the pitch up and drove it deep, about halfway up from the bleachers in left center field. Matthews, been around a while, San Francisco, Atlanta, now with Philadelphia. Veteran player. Right-hand hitter, swings the bat around, hits one high, center field. Coming on is Kenny Landreau. It's way up there. He sends it, and he's got it. So Matthews is gone. So far, Valenzuela, with a fairly easy inning, will go after Gary Maddox, who singled sharply to left field in the second. Maddox taking his time. You know, generally, you'll see a hitter. Boy, he's right there, ready to go. But the Phillies are laying off a little bit. And sometimes, when a pitcher gets into a groove, you can sort of change the pace a little bit by making him wait for you.
Say so many pitchers in the past that are that way. If they get in a groove, why, you have to step out. Get them out of that groove.
Gary Maddox, closed stance. The flat-footed hitter waits on the pitch. Outside for a ball. Fernando has retired the last 6 straight. He got the last man in the second, retied in order in the third. The first 2 here in the 4th inning. It's a 1-1 ball game. Outside, so Gary runs the count, 2 balls, no strikes. Gary Maddox, one of the few Vietnam War veterans playing Major League Baseball. 2 balls, no strikes. Valenzuela kicks and fires, swung on a miss, a through ball. A ball and 2 to make that 2 balls and 1 strike. Fernando, who seems to have trimmed down in 1983, kicks and fires away. Ground ball down the third base side. It's fair into the corner. That'll be extra bases for Gary Maddox. Up with it is Baker, and Maddox stops at second base with a stand-up double.
That time, Pedro Guerrero was not guarding the line at third base. They guard the line later in the game with a batter up there, but he was off the line. That ball hit right down near the bag and down in the corner in left field. And the left fielder, Baker, made a good play. Get that ball before it hit the embankment down there in front of the stands, or it might have been a tough chance for him.
2 down, Maddox at second base. Here's Bo Diaz, who bounced into a double play in the second. It's all even. Dodgers won, the Phillies won. The Phillies have a runner in scoring position here in the fourth with 2 away, and the curveball is outside. Ball 1 to Bo. Bo is 0 for 4 overall in the series. 0 for 1 tonight, 0 for 3 last night. Deep in the box and waiting. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's outside again. 2-0, and Fernando missing badly to Bo Diaz.
In the game where the Phillies clinched the National League East in Chicago, Bo Diaz hit 2 home runs in that game. He has some power, and we mentioned last night he has a lot of different stances at the plate. He might get into his home run stance here somewhere along the way.
Diaz waiting again. Fernando gets the sign from his catcher, Jack Simple, and then steps off the rubber. Going to try it again. Now they're set. 2 balls and no strikes. The pitch coming up. It's in there for a strike, 2-1. There was some comment that Fernando Valenzuela may have lost some of the speed on his fastball, and they felt that maybe in the middle of the season he did lose a little, but at the end they said he had it all back. The 2-1 pitch coming up. Check swing by Diaz, and the first base umpire says no. And the roll is 3 balls and 1 strike. The umpires in the stands, a partisan crowd of Dodger rooters don't like it.
It depends on who the umpire is. A lot of umpires in the National League would have called that a swing.
3 balls, 1 strike, 2 down. At second base, Gary Maddox. 1-1 tie, 4th inning. Diaz looking at a fastball, 3-2. Ivan De Jesus, the batter in the on-deck circle behind Bo Diaz. At second base, Gary Maddox. Valenzuela set. Looks at the runner at second. A 3-2 delivery. Ground ball, third base side, and just foul. That was almost the same ball that Maddox hit, but maybe 2 feet. And this one hummed on the foul side, past the bag, now more than a foot.
And the ball has to go over any portion of that bag to be a fair ball if it hits in front of the bag. And that one did, but it did hook foul by about 2 feet.
All right, here's Diaz back in there again. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. At second base, Gary Maddox. The pitch by Valenzuela pops right on the foul side and drifting away and out of play. It's kicked on the warning track and bounced into the stands for a souvenir for somebody here at Dodger Stadium. Got a good crowd here, and probably matching last night's crowd, about 50,000. They had 49,963 overall. Phillies 1 run, 3 hits. Dodgers 1 run, 1 base hit. Phillies with Maddox at second base and 2 down in the 4th inning. 3-2 pitch on the way to Diaz. A chopper to Russell at short. He's got it. The toss to first in time, and that's all for Diaz. It's all for the Phillies. 6-3 if you're keeping book. In the middle of the 4th inning, Philadelphia 1, Los Angeles 1. From Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
CBS Radio for Sioux Falls and Sioux City. WNAS, Yankton.
Set to go. Last half of the 4th inning. It's a 1-1 ball game. Another tight one. Phillies won last night 1-0 on Mike Smith's home run. And now Kenny Lander, who drove in the only Dodger run, steps in against John Denny. The big curveball by Denny doesn't get to the plate. It's ball 1. Dan trying to get the Dodgers rolling, and it's a partisan crowd as Denny misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes. the 10th man, they say. It's in the stands as Landro takes the fastball in there for a strike. 2-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Landro, left-hand batter, hitting the number 5 spot. The pitch on the way to Landro. Curveball out in front. Badly swung. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He was really fooled on that pitch.
That off-speed pitch that time, it was out over the plate. Landro extended out on the front foot. Just swung with the arm.
Here's the next one on the way to Landro. It's chopped foul down the first base side. The count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dodgers with a run in the first inning. The Phillies got a run in the second. That's where we are. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. All even at 1. Landro waiting. John Denny checks his catcher. The sign is out by Diaz. Denny looks again, and now Landro says, that's enough. I'm going to get out here and let you think about what you're going to do. The outfield is swung well off to the right side. Maddox in center field is almost into right center. Here's Landro waiting. Curveball chopped up the middle. It's going to get through for a base hit. The second hit of the night off John Denny, both of them by Kenny Landro. A lead single gets the Dodgers rolling here in the last of the 4th inning.
That was the same pitch that Landro looked so bad on earlier in that at-bat, but he waited that time and just bounced it through the middle.
Well, Denny, when he throws the ball, has a lot of motion, and that's one of the reasons the right-hand hitters are having such a battle for him. Once he lets the ball go, they're striding maybe a little bit too soon. Throw to first, and back goes Landro. Mike Marshall, the hitter, fly to center in the first.
Landro with 30 stolen bases on the year. He's a threat to go at any time.
Another throw back to first base, and Landro dives in head first. Outfield shading to the left side. Mike Marshall, the kind of strength he can reach any part of this park. Denny throws to first again, and Landro gets back. John Denny, a trim athlete, 6'3", 190 pounds from Prescott, Arizona. About the time the Phillies thought the only thing they had on the mound was Steve Carlin, Denny came to the rescue and became the best Philadelphia pitcher. At the end, he was the guy that was winning them all. Marshall, waiting. Here's the pitch on the way. Chop foul. Strike 1.
Another thing about Denny, he's a good fielding pitcher, a very good athlete, so you have to be careful. You've got another infielder out there when he's on the mound. Plus, his move is good to first, and he also gets rid of the ball in a hurry when he delivers to the plate with a base stealer on first base.
Landro with the lead at first base. Rose holds against him. Throw to first. I think the Dodgers are wondering what happened to them. They beat the Phillies 11 of 12, but the Philadelphia Phillies right now have the edge, and they look tough. Here's the pitch to Marshall. Foul back.
Good swing. Pitch up and in. Marshall had a very good swing, the home run swing.
No ball, 2 strikes. Marshall, a very deliberate hitter, gets everything set, pulls at the peak of his helmet, sets the right foot in first. Now set, ready to go, holds the bat right on the end. At first base, Kenny Landro, 1-1 ball game, last of the 4th inning. 2 strikes from the hitter. The pitch to Marshall, up the middle. Morgan races to the bag to get Landro by an eyelash, and De Jesus didn't cover. Morgan had to do it himself. Great play by little Joe Morgan. Wow.
Looked like De Jesus was going for the ball, too, so he couldn't get there. All of a sudden, second base was too far for him to get to, so Morgan had to run over and tag the base with the ball in his bare hand.
Quite a play by Morgan to save what could have been a rugged experience for the Phillies. Now Bill Russell steps in. He struck out in the second. Morgan, good hands. He's always had good hands. He's been one of the class players in baseball for 20 years. He's jumped around a lot, but his credentials are somewhat incredible. Here's a pitch on the way to Russell outside for a ball.
Joe said at the age of 40, all of a sudden it's not 90 feet between the bases, especially on defense. They've lengthened it some 10 feet on him.
You said it. Russell waiting. The 1-0 pitch. High and inside, 2-0. Well, look what Morgan has done. In 1980, he led Houston to a division championship. In 1981, he knocked out the Dodgers. Was that last year? He knocked them out of the box.
Last year
he knocked them out of the box. Cincinnati, he's taken there several times. He's got the Phillies there. When he plays on the ball club, they usually win. Marshall at first base with a lead, and Russell takes inside. The count 3-0. Mike Marshall at first. Bill Russell has run the count 3 balls, no strikes. Last of the 4th inning, 1-1 ball game. And Bill takes one on the corner for strike 1, 3-1. He was taking all the way on that one. Behind Russell, the young rookie catcher, Jack Simple. 3 balls, 1 strike, 1 away. Marshall with the lead at first. And then he did something that's good move for the infielders and the catcher. He stepped back off the rubber to test the runner at first. Pitch on the way to Russell. Loops the right field. Coming on fast to Lozano. He can't get it. Over to third base. Here's Marshall. He's in. Some good base running by Mike Marshall. He knew the ball was going to drop. He put his head down and got over to third base. And that should be a big play in the ballgame.
Well, the thing about a base runner, he's supposed to get on base, look and see where the outfielders are playing, the infielders are playing, size up a base hit as soon as possible, know when the ball is not hit at somebody, and Marshall did that time. He took off immediately. He knew that Lozano in right field was playing a little bit too deep for Russell, would not be able to get to the ball. He got into third base easily.
Had he hesitated for even an instant, he wouldn't have made it.
Right.
And that changes the game right now with runners at first and third. And now the Dodgers have Jack Simple and Fernando Valenzuela, the next 2 hitters, and they're not in the prime spot of their lineup at this moment.
The thing that Denny's looking for here is a strikeout, a pop-up, or a double play.
You know something that manager Tommy Lasorda has done an awful lot this year for the first time is a suicide squeeze. Don't count it out.
Some managers don't like it. Lasorda has been using it because he's had to use it with this team.
Let's watch. Runners at first and third. Pitch on the way to Pimple. Swung on a miss, first strike. Another breaking ball. Pimple struck out in the 2nd inning. Had a bad swing at that one.
Now, Marshall broke like something was going to be on then put the brakes on. The decoy that time.
Marshall at third, Russell at first. 1 down, 1-1 ball game. Bottom of the 4th. Jack Simple, the number 8 hitter, waiting. Closed stand. The pitch on the way. It's a pitch out the Phillies were looking for. Well, if you're Lasorda, you come back with it, or you just wait and hope for the best.
Well, if you're going to put it on, you don't see 2 pitch outs in a row very often. If you're going to put it on, now would be the time. Looks like Tommy might let him swing away.
Let's see what happens. Simple waiting. Runners at first and third. Pitch on the way. The bunt. It's a safe bunt on the first base side. Marshall didn't go, and I think he missed the sign.
He must have missed the sign because Russell was on the move immediately, and it certainly wasn't a sacrifice to get Russell to second with the pitcher coming up and 2 outs. So Amalfitano looking towards the bench and not talking to Marshall, and Marshall and Amalfitano are talking, and I'm sure that Marshall must have missed the sign.
Well, whatever. The count is a ball and 2 strikes. 1 away. Russell at first base. Marshall at third. Morgan almost standing on second base, looking for a running situation right here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch on the way to Pimple. Outside, 2-2. Wow. You know, I think Tommy really wants to activate something here, if he can, because with Fernando coming up, you almost got to figure he's not going to get the hit. He's got to do something with Pimple. Let's see what happens. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. There goes Russell. Ball is high. Throw to second base. They got Russell hung up. Marshall is going to try. Now he's going to be hung up. Morgan's after Marshall. Bo Diaz after Marshall, who's got the ball. And they throw it to Smith, who tags out. And they ask for an obstruction play at third base. Let's see if they're going to get it.
They're not going to get it. Marshall pointed for the obstruction play, but I'll tell you what, Morgan executed that play as good as any second baseman is ever going to do it, and yet he made a bad mistake. He ran in with the ball towards home after Marshall had committed himself. He ran in towards home, then finally threw to Diaz, but he made a bad throw, a one-hopper.
Dropped the ball.
Right, a one-hopper towards the plate, and Diaz finally come up with it on 1 hop. A good play by Bo, and then they got the base runner. Wow.
Well, that was some play. I think we'll go 2, 4, 2, 5. I know Marshall tried to pull an obstruction on that play, saying that he ran into Diaz after he'd thrown the ball to Smith, but no cigar. So out in the rundown is Mike Marshall. Down to second base, Russell, and Jack Semple is going to have to do what he can do with a count of 3 balls and 2 strikes. A wild, exciting moment there here at Dodger Stadium. 3-2 pitch, curveball, line drive. Morgan grabs it. Oh, Chuck, what a play. A leaping line drive catch by Joe Morgan. The Dodgers are gone, and after 4 innings of play, the score, Philadelphia 1, Los Angeles 1. Here at Dodger Stadium, we had a little excitement in the bottom of the 4th inning with runners at first and third, and an attempted hit and run that turned into what appeared to be a double steal, and they finally got Marshall down by third base when Bo Diaz ran him back and got the ball to Mike Schmidt. And we go into the 5th inning all even at 1. I can't say that, there's nothing more exciting to me, Duke Snyder, than any kind of a running situation with active base runners on the field going. It really sets things in motion.
So, Jerry, you've been involved in a lot of rundown plays, and I know that as a second baseman and as a shortstop, you've been involved where you've had to run towards the plate like Morgan did, and the veteran did it perfectly, and I know you did it many times yourself.
Well, the one thing I never liked when the base runner started movement, that did a lot of things to the infielders because you had to be a little bit jumpy yourself, especially with a double play in order. If the runner's going, the guy at third. A lot of things happen with movement. And in this case, a lot of things happened, but not good for the Dodgers and pretty good for the Phillies.
So as an outfielder, I used to get the ball into Pee Wee as soon as possible because he was supposed to have all the brains on the team.
Give it to him and let him decide what to do with it. Yeah, I hope you heard that, Pee Wee, watching the game in Louisville. Here's Ivante Jesus, who tries to bunt for a base hit on the first pitch by Valenzuela and fouls it back for strike 1.
No, you infielders are supposed to have all the brains, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. But if you want to concede, I'll accept that.
All right.
Ivante Jesus batting in the 8th spot. He'll be followed by the pitcher John Denny, then Joe Morgan, the leadoff hitter. 1-1 ball game and a good one. Here's the pitch to De Jesus. Swung out a miss for strike 2. Phillies a run on 3 hits. The Dodgers a run on 3 hits. Outfield shades to the right side. De Jesus, right-hand batter, chokes up about an inch. Goes after a bad pitch, gets by Simple. He's going to be on at first base. You got to give a pass ball to Simple. I do not believe that ball hit the dirt. It was strike 3. De Jesus missed it a foot. He's on at first base when the ball got by the catcher.
John Denny will get a chance.
It was a wild pitch. That ball bounced in the dirt. We got to look at the television camera, so it's going to be a wild pitch. How do you like that?
Wild pitch, and Denny will get a chance now to see what kind of bunter he is.
Well, how often do you see a strikeout and a wild pitch? Runner at first base. John Denny stepping in. Line to left field and lays around the bunt and fouls it off on the left side for strike 1. De Jesus had such a bad swing, it was a helpful swing. The ball bounced about a foot in front of the plate. He swung at it. The ball was not into Simple's glove. It dribbled off behind him, and down to first base goes De Jesus.
You ever see a guy get a base hit on a ball that bounced in front of the plate?
I know you can do it, but only Yogi Berra is the only candidate I can think of right now.
I saw a guy used to play out here in the Coast League years ago when I was a kid. Lou Novikov hit a one bounce to a line drive into center field.
There's a bunt on the first base side. Simple makes the play to first. Denny's out, down to second base in scoring position goes De Jesus. You may not know this, but I played with Lou Novikov in Newark one year.
Is that right?
Yes.
The Mad Russian?
And they used to come in and say, I'm going to squeeze you with my eyes. I could never figure out what he meant. One away, runner at second base, 1-1 ball game. Top of the 5th inning, the batter coming on, Joe Morgan, and right now he's got a chance to put his side ahead. Dodgers got an unearned run in the 1st inning, and the Phillies could get a run here that's rather tainted, although it won't be unearned. Morgan waits, pitch on the way by Fernando. Low, ball 1. Morgan bounced to second, and he struck out. We're in the top of the 5th inning, all even at 1. Phillies trying to get on top if they can do it. Fernando at the set, the 1-0 pitch to Morgan. Joe takes outside 2-0.
See, Joe not chasing that pitch away this at bat. He's trying to be a little more patient up there.
Pete Rose in the on-deck circle watching. Morgan waits. choked up a little, flaps that left elbow. The pitch coming on to Joe, a chopper on the first base side, and that was a bad pitch by Valenzuela. He hung a curveball, and Morgan tried to jump it, but pulled it foul. 2-1. In fact, that was a 2-0 pitch, a breaking ball. So Fernando going with the breaking ball, 2-0. Didn't want to give a fastball to Morgan.
You talk about the Mad Rush, and he used to sing songs to the fans between double headers here in Los Angeles.
Quite a guy, quite a guy.
Quite an entertainer, and pretty good bat ball hitter, wasn't he?
He was an outstanding hitter, but in the outfield, 2 balls, 1 strike. Here's Morgan waiting, and the pitch has hit the left field foul. That'll slice into the stand, down the left field corner for strike 2. 2-2. The Dodgers are playing their outfield off to the right side. There's a huge hole between Baker and left and Landreau in center. Guerrero back a little at third base. Russell trying to sneak in behind De Jesus at second to keep him honest. Back at second base is Steve Sachs, and Greg Brock deep at first. 2-2 pitch coming on. It's Luke foul again. Morgan went after a fastball, got it on the pitch, and fouled it off.
I think Joe sees that gap in left center field. He's sort of trying to go that way with the pitch. That pitch normally he could pull because it was in.
Morgan again in there. He comes out of the Oakland Bay Area, up around San Francisco. He and Wilbur Stargell, 2 guys signed together. The 2-2 pitch coming up. Fastball high and inside. 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. Phillies 1, Dodgers 1. This could be a big pitch for Fernando. Behind Morgan, Pete Rose is waiting. Fernando again kicks high. The 3-2 delivery. Foul back. Morgan having a battle with Fernando Valenzuela. Head-to-head. 22-year-old left-hander against a 40-year-old second baseman. Valenzuela did something no other pitcher's ever done. He was Rookie of the Year and won the Cy Young Award the same season. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. Morgan waits. Pitch coming up. Serve is high, ball 4, and down to first base goes Joe. Phillies with runners at first and second. The year that Valenzuela had is kind of similar to the one Freddie Lynn had with the Red Sox when he was Rookie of the Year and the MVP of the same season. First time that had ever happened. That's what's known as getting off to a good start.
Well, it is, and you know the thing about it, I think it's easier for a pitcher to do than a hitter because it takes quite a bit more time to learn how to hit than it does to pitch. It's a lot easier to teach pitching than hitting.
You think we ought to tell the pitchers that?
Never liked the pitchers of you?
I don't like them. Here's Rose. Runners at first and second. 1-1 ball game, 5th inning. And Pete took a fastball. He was taking that all the way. Kind of a strange set of circumstances. Rose just danced at the plate as the ball came up there and let it sail by for strike 1. 5th inning. Dodgers 1, Philadelphia 1. Rose trying to get something going. Phillies threatening. Runners moving off, and the pitch to Pete is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. At second base, Ivan De Jesus. He struck out, but on the wild pitch, Simple couldn't hold it, and down to first base he went. A sacrifice by Denny got him to second. Morgan just got a walk, and Philadelphia has something going with 1 down in the 5th. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away. Again, Fernando at the set. Infield tight, double play depth, the pitch. Rose takes it outside, 2-1. And Valenzuela is just missing now. Wanting to get the ball in exactly the right spot, but having some problems.
He wants to get the double play ball if he can, and that's why he's keeping the ball down and away to Pete, hoping to get that ground ball.
Dodger bullpen up and going right now as Fernando's running into some problems. The 2-1 pitch to Rose. A chopper to the shortstop. Russell scoops it up. The sack. Back to first. A double play and an outstanding stretch by Greg Brock to close out the Phillies. What a stretch by Brock to save the day. In the middle of the 5th inning, after 4.5, it's still Philadelphia 1, Los Angeles 1. The Phillies had a threat going in the top of the 5th inning with runners at first and second. Then Pete Rose hit a ground ball to Russell. He had to come way in on it, made an underhand toss to Sachs, but the play of the night might have been the one that Greg Brock made with a long 6'5" frame of his to stretch and grab the ball and double up Rose. That ball looked like it might be going into the dugout. We've gone through 4.5 innings of play. Philadelphia 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error. The Dodgers 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. Coming on to hit for Los Angeles is Fernando Valenzuela. And now, coming on to tell you all about it and to take it right down to the wire, a Hall of Fame center fielder for the old Brooklyn Dodgers and later the Los Angeles Dodgers and all kinds of Dodgers. Let's bring in Duke Snyder.
Thank you, Jerry. And Fernando will be the batter. He walked in the second inning and was stranded at first base as Steve Sachs grounded out to third. Fernando, a left-handed batter, 187 batting average, has a home run this year and 9 RBIs, 3 doubles. And it's a towering drive to right center. Maddox in a hurry near the warning track. He falls down and drops the ball. Fernando rounds second. He's going to try for 3. Here comes the throw, and Morgan holds on to the ball. Fernando at third base. Maddox had the ball in his glove, and as he went down, it popped out of his glove. Fernando Valenzuela at third base. That's an incredible set of circumstances when you consider that Maddox had the ball. It was yard loose when he hit the ground. Well, it sure was, and it looked like Maddox was going to make the play easily as he had started to backpedal, run backwards. As he caught the ball, and the ball popped right out of his glove. He got up in a hurry, threw the ball in, but Fernando, hustling all the way that time, got to third base. Trainer Bill Bueller of the Dodgers out to talk to Fernando as he's limping a little bit. He might have hurt himself. He must have if Bueller's out there. Looked like his right knee as he slid into third. He might have jammed it a little bit. Morgan backed up on the relay throw and held on to it.
Well, let's hope he's in shape, Duke, because you've seen more than one pitcher run themselves right out of a ball game in a case like that. But Fernando realized by getting to third with nobody out, he'd have a strong chance to score. Now, Tom Lasorda's out there, and you're right. It's the right knee. When he slid, he hit hard, and he might have jammed it.
It's an error all the way on Gary Maddox, who makes very few errors. He's one of the more sure-handed center fielders in the National League, a Golden Glove winner. Fernando still inside third base near the coaching box, and he's walking around a little bit. Tom Lasorda talking things over with him, and Fernando will stay in the ball game. So the Phillies commit another error. The Dodgers have yet to get an earned run in the game. The score is tied at 1, and Steve Sachs will be the batter. Bottom of the 5th inning, Sachs is 0 for 2. He's flied to center and grounded to third. Now 3 for 6 in the series. Fernando walking around a bit, picking that leg up, that right leg up, bending the knee. Then he will pitch from the stretch. His time is called, and then he was ready to pitch. Stepping out, Steve Sachs. Now he's back in. Infield in. With Sachs, Brock due up next, and then Dusty Baker. Valenzuela at third base. There's a chopper foul to the left side.
Duke, as you know, the second, third, and fourth times, each time you see a pitcher in a ball game, you get to measure him a little bit more, and each time you see him, he's lost a little more. So these final 4 innings are going to be something.
Well, they should be. Fernando might be hampered by that knee. We'll have to wait on that right now. Then he kicks and fires. The pitch low and outside for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out, tie score, and the go-ahead run at third base.
With Sachs up there, Paul Owens is playing his infield in. I wonder if he'll deal with Brock up there.
Be interesting to see. A ground ball towards Morgan.
The delay was transmission trouble by CBS.
Hatter takes a fastball, strike 1. He's thinking up there. He was not ready for that fastball. He was thinking breaking ball all the way. Brock with 66 RBIs, 20 home runs, takes way inside, a hard slider or fastball, and he had a jackknife to get out of the way. The count 1-1.
Brock, as you know, struck out an awful lot this year. That's the one thing he's got to guard against right now.
Benny ready. A little dribble towards third. Schmidt up with it. Valenzuela coming in. The throw to Diaz, and plenty of time to get Valenzuela. So the contact play must have been on. Valenzuela out easily at the plate. Brock with a big swing on a curveball, hit the ball off the end of the bat. Mike Schmidt made an outstanding play, and a good throw to Diaz. Diaz did the rest. Now we have Brock at first base and 2 outs.
You know, that's a play that I think works well with a speedster at third. I don't think I'm quite delighted with a pitcher like Valenzuela charging home.
I don't think you'd have a contact play with Valenzuela at third. Dusty Baker, the batter, takes high and away for a ball, especially when his right knee was bothering him anyway. Baker 0 for 2. It's a hard shot, just foul down the third base line. Count 1-1. And now we have Brock at first base with 2 outs. So a great scoring opportunity goes by the boards as Valenzuela thrown out at the plate. 1-1 the count. Dusty with some sock has 15 home runs, 25 RBIs. Takes a curveball outside, ball 2. The Dodgers have yet to get an earned run in this series so far in the second game, and we're in the 5th inning. That's 14 innings. Dusty takes up an in, ball 3. Brock with just 5 stolen bases. He runs fairly well for a big man, but not base-stealing speed. Can go from first to third pretty well. Might be on the move here. No, he's not. Baker takes high, ball 4. And here's Pedro Guerrero coming to the plate. And he's the guy that the Phillies tried to pitch around last night and did. And won the ball game. Now Pedro with a chance to get even tonight with runners at first and second and 2 outs.
You know, Duke, the tide of this ball game, as we keep going down to the wire, could swing toward the Phillies and that bullpen of theirs, which is much stronger right now than the Dodgers and a great deal more depth as we look at it.
And as we look at the Dodger record against left-handed pitchers, they're some 9-22 this year. And, of course, the Phillies have 2 fine left-handed pitchers in the bullpen, Al Holland and Willie Hernandez. So we might see a left-hander before too long. Claude Osteen, a pretty good left-handed pitcher in his own right, and pitching coach for the Phillies, went out to talk to John Denny.
It's amazing how that third pitcher always gets lost. You know about Koufax, you know about Drysdale, but how many big games did Osteen win in those years when the other 2 weren't doing that well?
Right, Osteen came into his own when he came over to the Dodgers from Washington, and he found a home here for a while. Here's Guerrero. Runners at first and second. 2 outs, and he takes a curve right on the inside part of the plate, strike 1. Pedro is 0 for 1. He popped up to short in the 3rd inning. He's 0 for 3 in the series. Pitch low for a ball. Good play by Diaz. He might have taken that out of the dirt. Diaz blocked our view. 1-1 the count. Brock at second base. Baker at first. Guerrero takes high and in. Ball 2. So John Denny pitching out of trouble several times in this game. Stranded 2 Dodgers in the 1st inning. Stranded 2 in the 4th. Now has 2 on here. A ground ball down the third baseline. Foul some 6 or 7 feet.
You know, unless things change very quickly, Duke, I don't think either pitcher, with the amount of work they've had, may survive 9 full innings. They've done a lot of work out there. There's been a lot of scoring press and a lot of men on base.
Oh, that's for sure. They're throwing a lot of pitches. Even though there's only 3 hits in the game, the count has gone pretty high on quite a few hitters in this game. Guerrero hits a drive to right, slicing. It might drop. Lascano at it, can't get it. It gets by and drops to a score. Here comes Baker. He's going to score. And Guerrero will go to third to the triple. The ball skipped by Lascano. He tried to make the catch. The ball hit the soft turf we told you about earlier. It rained a lot here last night. And the Dodgers take the lead 3-1. 2 RBIs for Guerrero. He sliced one to right. Lascano couldn't catch up to it.
Well, Lascano running as hard as he could go toward that line, had the ball pretty much under control, but it hit and kicked behind him, and that set up the second run for the Dodgers, and it gets Guerrero to third, and a base hit here to give the Dodgers a rather comfortable lead.
Well, the thing about it is Denny looked like he might pitch out of trouble there, but he walked Dusty Baker, got to Pedro Guerrero, who they tried to pitch around last night, and did so successfully. All of a sudden, Guerrero gets up there with runners at first and second, and they pitch to Guerrero, and he did the damage. Landro, the batter, he's 2 for 2. They're going to walk him intentionally here to get to Mike Marshall. So it seems that no matter where Mike Marshall is in the lineup, there's some intentional walks or intentional walks, as they call it in the paper today. They're talking about Pedro Guerrero last night in last night's game.
Mike is under the baptism of fire right now. He went 0 for 4 last night. He's 0 for 2 in this one. I think he just loved to get one big one to kind of put all the critics to rest.
Well, I think it would take a lot of pressure off himself, too. Here comes Marshall. He's 0 for 2. Hit into a force out and fly to center field. Big, strong right-handed batter, has power to all fields. Marshall wears the number 5. Here's the first pitch. Ground ball towards short. Jesus got it, throws the first in time to get Marshall. But not before the Dodgers come up with a couple of runs on just one hit, and they leave a couple of runners, and there was a big error in the inning. So at the end of 5 innings of play, the score is the Dodgers 3, the Phillies 1. Fernando Valenzuela now taking his warm-up pitches. Fernando took a lot of time getting out to the mound. He went into the training room, and we noticed that he has changed his uniform, and he probably received some sort of medical help as he was inside. So he was late coming out onto the field, but about halfway through his warm-up pitches right now.
Well, you know, Duke Snyder, you have had a tough slide someplace at home, and you've just torn up your knee, and it just aches from your tooth all the way down to your heel. That could have happened to him. He might have just had one of those terrible aching feelings. Let's hope at least the Dodgers think that's all it is anyway.
Well, he's favoring it a little bit as he's standing just off the mound as umpire Dick Stello behind the plate gives Fernando a new ball. Now walking back up, a little bit of a limp, but not too bad. Mike Schmidt will lead it off here in the 6th inning. It'll be Schmidt, Lezcano, and Matthews for the Phillies.
One thing the Dodgers aren't doing, no one is warming up right now. If they really felt Fernando was in deep trouble, they'd have a man going in the bullpen.
Right. Although if Fernando leaves the game because of an injury, why, the pitcher will have as long as he needs to warm up. It's one of the rules of baseball, but they had 2 pitchers warming up at the end of last inning before Fernando got the double play ball out of Pete Rose. Mike Schmidt takes strike 1, a screwball out over the plate. Well, the Dodgers leading for the first time in this series. Well, they led 1-0 in the first inning. Second time in this series. Pitch low for a ball. 1-1 the count. Schmidt has struck out and flied to left field. Just got under 1 to left. He tried to pull a screwball out over the plate, hit it up near the end of the bat, so he didn't get the distance he wanted. Schmidt waiting, takes high for a ball. 2-1 the count. Schmidt now 2 for 5 in the series. Has a home run, 1 RBI. Big home run last night. Of course, the teams moved to Philadelphia and play there Friday afternoon. Pitch in there for a strike, about letter high on the inside part of the plate. Interesting what Mike Schmidt said about himself to the press yesterday, last night, talking about being such a good low ball hitter, doesn't like the high pitch. So Valenzuela gave him one right there, and he took it for a strike. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Check swing. He went around. Mike started towards the bench, but the plate umpire, Dick Stello, did not call it. The appeal to the first base umpire, John McSherry, and he did. So Mike Schmidt strikes out for the second time in the game, and the 4th strikeout for Valenzuela.
One thing Schmidt did to take the pressure off anybody, he nodded his head in agreement that, yep, he swung at the ball.
He did.
His left.
But he took a step and said, I better get back, because the other umpires might not have seen it the way I felt. But that big gun of the bat was way out there. Here's Lezcano. He's 0 for 2. Slide to left, deep, and hit a ground ball to third base. Right-handed batter. Takes high, ball 1. Toscano, 8 home runs, 56 RBIs during the regular season with San Diego and Philadelphia. Takes a bit low here, ball 2. Toscano with just 12 doubles, and Jerry's saying that he doesn't run too well, and that's a good indication. Of course, AstroTurf, you get so many more doubles when you play on AstroTurf. With Philadelphia now, he's on an AstroTurf field quite a bit of the time as he fouls one back. Count 2-1.
He's one of the few players that I've seen take a full swing every time he goes after a ball. He likes the ball up. He likes it a little in. He likes to drive it. He can hit a home run. He'll hit 20 home runs when he has a good year. But generally, he goes full bore every time he goes after the ball.
And he doesn't get out of the batter's box too well then. Here's a fly ball to center, going back toward Landreau near the warning track. He's under it. He's got it. That ball traveled about 380 feet. But Landreau made an easy play. 2 away.
The World Series on CBS begins Tuesday, October the 11th. So join Jack Buck and our good buddy Sparky Anderson as they describe all the action of game number 1. That's the World Series on CBS Tuesday, October the 11th at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time over most of these stations.
Gary Matthews now 1 for 6, a home run in the second inning. So the Phillies have 2 runs in this series, both home runs, one by Mike Schmidt and one by Gary Matthews. Right-handed batter stands deep in the batter's box. It's way outside, ball 1.
The strange thing about that, Duke, is the fact that the Dodgers led the league in home runs, and the Phillies now are well out in front, 2-0.
Matthews takes a screwball for a strike. Well, we're going to a ballpark that is, if the weather conditions are right, probably one of the better home run hitting ballparks in baseball, Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. What a beautiful park to hit in. And the AstroTurf, too. The 1-1 pitch. Matthews takes low, ball 2.
What do you think the AstroTurf adds to a batter's average over the course of the year?
I would think some 20 points.
And especially some hitters, the speedy guys that
hit the ball hard, right.
You mean all those 300 hitters are 280 hitters?
I think so. 2-1 the count. Gary waiting, wiggling the bat. Takes just outside, ball 3. 3-1 the count. Valenzuela has not shown any signs that his knee is bothering him. Pitching very well and being very careful with Matthews, trying to keep the ball away so that he can't hit another one out. Just 7 hits in the game, 4 by the Dodgers. Here's a line drive, 1 hopper. Russell to his left, takes it, throws to first in time for the out. 3 up and 3 down, and in the middle of the 6th inning, the Dodgers lead the Phillies 3-1. Bill Russell will lead things off here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It'll be Russell, Pimple, and Valenzuela. Dodgers leading 3-1. A good crowd on hand, but not a capacity crowd. We see some empty seats in the upper portions of Dodger Stadium. And thinking back to when they broke ground here at Dodger Stadium, Dodgers playing at the Coliseum here in Los Angeles, and we all stood at the home plate area and watched a bulldozer come over the third base dugout area way up in the top of the hill and push some dirt down towards our way. And that was the groundbreaking ceremonies here at Dodger Stadium. And they started to build this park, and we wondered, how in the world are they going to do it? Well, it wasn't too much longer. 1962, we found out, and what a beautiful baseball park it is. Russell tries a bunt. It's a good one. Up with it, Smith. Throws to first. Not in time. It pulls Rose off the bag. Russell with a base hit. A bunt single down the third baseline.
You know, Duke, thinking about what you were just talking about, building Dodger Stadium, I believe this is the last privately financed stadium in the country, as far as I know.
It is, and the Dodgers really didn't take too much money out of pocket to build this stadium, as Walter O'Malley had a great head for finance. He got quite a bit of advance from Union Oil here in Southern California, and they gave him some $13 million advance for the radio and TV rights, and that paid for a heck of a lot of this stadium. I think it cost them $18 to $19 million to build at that time. Simple is the batter. He squared the bunt, took the pitch, ball one. Jack, a right-handed batter with Russell at first base. Dodgers now with 5 hits in the game. Ron Reed throwing in the bullpen for the Phillies, a right-hander. Jack is 0 for 2. He struck out in the 3rd inning, lined out to second in the 4th inning. He's checking signs with Amalfitano. Valenzuela at the on-deck circle. Another throw to first. Russell back in time. Bill had 13 stolen bases this year. He was a speedster when he first signed with the Dodgers. He was a track star in high school in Kansas. Never played baseball till he got out of high school. Ground ball towards third. Schmidt dives for it, gets it, throws to second for the force there. Great play by Schmidt.
Dude, that was absolutely brilliant. A leaping grab by Schmidt. Had that play been made in Philadelphia, the place would have gone wild. He threw off balance to Morgan, got the force at second base, but getting the ball was brilliant.
Well, it was that. He had to dive to his left, and then from a kneeling position threw a strike to second base to Morgan. And Morgan had a shot at Temple at first base, but Joe did not throw there. Valenzuela, who will probably bunt in this situation. He's 0 for 1. He's going to swing away with the runner going. Rose picks the ball up and will step on first. A little chopper towards first base with Temple on the move. So Valenzuela was not bunting.
I was going to say that Tommy Lasorda, I think, is very happy to have Valenzuela off the bases and just put that runner down at second. And I like you, thought he might sacrifice.
Well, I thought he would too, but Temple does not run that well, so I guess he thought maybe if he had him on the move, Fernando might make contact and get him to second base, and that's exactly what happened. Sachs now coming to the plate as Valenzuela just now getting back to the bench. 2 away, a base runner at second, Jack Temple. Steve Sachs 0 for 3. He's 3 for 7. Right-handed batter waiting, hits a one-hopper towards short. De Jesus has it. Throw to first in plenty of time to get Sachs. No runs, a hit, 1 left. And at the end of 6 innings, the score, the Dodgers 3, the Phillies 1. In the 7th inning, Gary Maddox will lead it off for the Phillies, then Bo Diaz and Ivan De Jesus. Then John Denny's spot. Ron Reed still throwing in the bullpen for the Phillies. So if the Phillies get somebody on base, we'll more than likely see a pinch hitter. The Dodgers are leading 3-1. They have 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. The Phillies 1 run, 3 hits, and 2 errors. And unless I'm wrong, and if I am, I'd like to be corrected, all 3 runs are unearned. I think they are because of the error by the center fielder Maddox in the 5th inning.
Well, the 2 unofficial scorers here agree that all the runs are unearned.
Right. Guerrero would have never come to the plate had that ball been caught. The way the inning went. Maddox fouls one off, and that's what the official score goes by. He goes by what happens after the error is committed, whether the runs are earned or unearned, and the run scored with 2 outs, so that error would have made it the 3rd out. Maddox with the count 0-1. Takes low and outside. Now the board says 1-1, so we'll have to go with it. Ball 1, strike 1. Fernando kicks high, pitch high and outside, ball 2. Maddox is 2 for 2. He's got a single and a double. So Gary has 3 hits and 6 at-bats in the series. Feet spread a long way apart, slightly closed stance, does not stride, just picks his toe up and swings and misses here. Count 2-2. He lifts his heel up and keeps his toe down. That's what I meant to say. Does not stride into the ball. He will just shift his weight as he swings. Here's the 2-2. Little chopper in back of home plate. Count remains 2-2.
I don't think John Denny is long for this ball game, but if the Phillies get anything going, with Ron Reed continuing to throw down there, it looks as though manager Paul Owens is getting ready for a pinch hitter to try to get back in the game.
Well, I think he will if they get to the fourth spot in this inning. It's a matter of somebody getting on base. Maddox, it's a high fly ball into shallow center field. Coming in for it, Landreau. He's camped under it and makes the play. Bo Diaz will be the batter. Bo 0 for 2. He hit into a double play in the second inning, grounded to short in the fourth inning. He's 0 for 5 in the series. Hit 15 home runs in regular season play with 64 RBI. Stockily built. Big, strong leg. Bo steps out as Fernando took a little bit too much time. Valenzuela has just given up 3 hits. He has struck out 4. A hard shot to third. Guerrero up with it. The easy throw to first base. And Diaz is out. 2 quick outs here in the 7th inning. De Jesus will be the batter. He struck out in the 5th inning and went to first base as the ball got by the catcher. A wild pitch. Tony Perez coming out to the on-deck circle. What a guy. What a career. I wanted to mention this, Jerry. Very few times in your life are you going to see 5 potential Hall of Famers on the same team at one time. And the Phillies have that right now in Rose, Perez, Morgan, Schmidt, and Carlton.
No question about it.
It's really something. Tony's had some kind of career. He helped this ball club an awful lot the first 2 months of the season, then tapered off.
I think people forget that, dude. He was the one who kept the Phillies alive in the first 6 weeks, and then he tailed off because of his age. He hasn't been used much.
Right. Count 2 balls and no strikes to Ivan De Jesus. De Jesus is 0 for 1, 0 for 4 in the series. Right-handed batter waiting. It's a line drive towards left. Drops in front of Baker for a base hit, so Perez will get a chance to bat. And league championship play, World Series play, nothing new to Tony Perez. John Denny has completed his night's work, and he deserved a better fate. 3 unearned runs, and he's behind 3-1. Perez batting .253 at 61 hits, 6 home runs, 43 RBIs, 18 runs scored. Right-handed batter. And he's a strong man. He can still hit one out of the park. Tony takes outside, ball 1. Tony spent a few years with the Montreal Expos, and I got to know him very well. And I tell you, does he ever keep the club loose? He's a needler. He likes the needle, and he likes to be needled. Tony's been in the League Championship Series 5 times. All with Cincinnati, 70, 72, 73, 75, 76. 224 batting average, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs during that time. A screwball for a strike. He got 2-1. Against the Dodgers this year, he's 1 for 14. 0.71 batting average. But that doesn't mean anything. The old saying, what can you do for me now? That's what counts. Number 24, Tony Perez. In the twilight of his career. Perez takes high and outside, ball 3. So Fernando having trouble finding the plate. We have action in the Dodger bullpen. Have a couple of right-handers down there.
Well, Alejandro Pena is one of them. And the other one appears to be Bert Hooton, the veteran.
Valenzuela has his sign. Perez waiting. Tony hits a hard shot into left field, a base hit. So the Phillies have runners at first and second and 2 outs. And coming to the plate will be Joe Morgan.
Second baseman, Joe Morgan.
So the veteran Tony Perez comes up and gets a base hit. Valenzuela gives up his 5th hit, and Ron Peranowski will go to the mound and talk to Fernando.
For the Phillies, running for first.
Fernando might be getting a little bit tired. And Pena was supposed to possibly start in the 4th game if he wasn't needed to relieve earlier. And he's down there throwing now with Bert Hooton. So we'll wait on that. You don't look ahead. You can't look that far. Tommy Lasorda has to win this ball game. If he needs Pena to win it, he'll use it. The meeting over at the mound. And Joe Morgan will step in. Joe is 0 for 2. He's grounded to second and struck out. He walked in the 5th inning. Left-handed batter. 16 home runs on the season, 59 RBIs, 20 doubles. Left-hander against left-hander right here. Pitch low and outside for a ball. Sliding into third and making a lot of pitches in this ball game possibly has tired Valenzuela. Having a problem here in the 7th inning. Morgan takes a curve low and outside. 2-0 the count.
Well, Fernando's in a spot right here, Duke. He better come back with some strikes or he won't be around very long.
I think this is his last hitter if he loses Morgan while he's out of the ball game. Pete Rose on deck. The 2-0 pitch to Morgan. A fly ball to right field. Coming in Ford Marshall. Will he get there? He dives for it. Comes up with the ball. He misplayed the ball, took a step back, and got on the right track and hustled in to make a diving catch of a ball down the right field line. Mike Marshall getting Fernando Valenzuela out of trouble in the top of the 7th inning. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. In the middle of the 7th inning, the score is the Dodgers 3, the Phillies 1. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network.
CBS Radio for Sioux Falls and Sioux City. WNAX, Yankton.
Ron Reed will be the pitcher for the Phillies. That's the only change for Philadelphia. He was in 61 games, 96 innings of work, struck out 73. He walked 34, had a 9-1 record with 8 saves, and an ERA of 3.48. Ron Reed, now 40 years old. He was quite a basketball player at Notre Dame and quite a pitcher in the National League. Boy, he has had quite a career. Ron Reed facing Greg Brock. Brock swings and misses on a fastball up and in. It'll be Brock, Baker, and Guerrero here in the 7th for the Dodgers. The fly ball into center field, going towards left center. Under it is Maddox, and he makes the play. 1 away.
Reed is a totally different type pitcher than John Denny, and that when he throws the ball, it's a true riding fastball, where Denny gives you a lot of motion, a lot of shoulder, and a big curve. Reed's more of a slider fastball, but the ball is true, and if he doesn't have his stuff, he gets beat up pretty good. But when he's got it, he'll ride it in on those pitches.
He has to have good control, but he does change speeds very well. Has a pretty good hard slider that seen so much of. Baker pops one up the back of home plate. It's out of play. He'll turn 41 November 2nd. He was acquired from St. Louis in 1975 from Mike Anderson.
Pretty good trade for the Phillies.
Well, I guess. A call strike to count 0-2. You know, with those 8 wins this year, he's got 145 wins now and 134 losses. Not too bad for all the relief work that he has done.
And he played for the Detroit Pistons a couple of years while he was a pitcher in the big league.
Pitch foul back. Count remains 0-2. Baker had a pretty good swing at that one. Dusty has scored 2 runs, yet he's 0 for 2. He walked in the 5th inning and scored a run. Scored a run De Jesus made an error in the first inning. He came around to score. Baker takes down and in for a ball. Tom Niedenfuhr throwing in the bullpen for the Dodgers, and that could be a sign. Niedenfuhr usually does not warm up unless he's going to be used. Baker pulls one foul to the left side.
During the final weeks of the regular pennant race, Niedenfuhr was worn out, and they tried to rest him at a couple of games just to give him a breather, almost at the expense of letting Atlanta sneak in there. But Niedenfuhr, you're right, if he's going to warm up, he's going to pitch.
Breaking pitch low and outside. Tom was sort of saying that Niedenfuhr was rested, and he would not hesitate to use him tonight because tomorrow's an off day, and this is a 5-game series, and he thought that he might possibly be available if it goes 5 for all 5 games. That if the manager uses him properly.
Well, the Phillies are pretty stable on what they're going to do. If the game go 4 and 5, it's going to be Carlton and Denny coming back as far as Philadelphia is concerned.
Right.
The Dodgers right now, I'm not sure what they're going to do.
3-2 the count. Little check swing chopper to the left side of the mound. And up with the ball, Ron Reed. He throws to first, and Baker an easy out. 2 away, and Pedro Guerrero will come to the plate. Put his team ahead. Pedro is 1 for 2 and 1 for 4 in the series. Right-handed batter. A triple was a slicing drive towards right. Lozano couldn't catch up with it, and the ball hit. Line drive foul down the third baseline. The ball hit and backed up. Went the other way, right on by Lozano for the 3-base hit.
Ironic, isn't it, Duke, that a guy like Guerrero, the big punch man, the 32 home runs, the 100 RBIs, gets a couple of RBIs on what is really a flare down the right field side. And you talk about baseball, don't ever try to predict it. You never know.
Well, it's not how you hit it, it's where you hit it, right? It's the name of this game. It looks like a line drive in the paper tomorrow morning. A lot of people will not read about the story or hear it over radio or watch it on TV, and they'll see Guerrero with a triple. Boy, he must have boomed one to right center off the fence. The old box score doesn't tell the whole story sometimes. Guerrero takes inside. Count 1-1. Pedro had to go back and get a new bat. Ron Reed in the big windup. This pitch in the dirt. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. Reed, a very smooth delivery, as Jerry mentioned. There's a drive to right, slicing right at Lozano this time, and he makes the play. 3 up and 3 down, and at the end of 7 innings, the score is the Dodgers 3, Phillies 1.
You can hear Game 2 of the American League Championship Series tomorrow at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Join our good friends Kurt Gowdy and Ernie Harwell as they bring you all the action from Baltimore tomorrow at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time over most of these stations.
We have a couple of changes for the Dodgers. Darryl Thomas now playing right field, and Mike Marshall has moved in to play first base, so that means Greg Brock is out of the game. Fernando Valenzuela still in there, as Pete Rose will lead it off here in the top of the 8th inning. 3-1, Dodgers lead. Both teams with 5 hits. The Phillies have committed 2 costly errors in the ballgame.
You know, I think manager Tommy Lasorda probably feels he dodged a bullet in that 7th inning on the play by Marshall. And now he's going to go in there with a man, Darryl Thomas, who may be one of the best outfielders in baseball.
Well, Darryl can cover a lot of ground. There's no question about that. And he's put Marshall at first base, and he's got some height. He can take care of any bad throws that are high at first base. Rose fouls one off to the right, and Heat and his 15-game hitting streak in League Championship Series play in jeopardy here. He's 0 for 2 in this ball game. He walked, stole second in the first inning, lined out to the pitcher, and hit into a double play. Batting right-handed against Valenzuela. 2 ball for a strike. 0-2 the count. Rose, Schmidt, and Lozano here in the 8th inning. Dodger bullpen still busy. The 0-2 pitch. He takes called strike three. A true ball. So unless the Phillies come back and tie this up, that'll be Rose's last at bat, and that hitting streak will end. Hershiser and Niedencure throwing in the bullpen for the Dodgers. That's 5 strikeouts for Valenzuela. It's a good screwball, low and away.
Fernando, for whatever reason, he really has great staying qualities. He can be battered and plastered to the wall and hang in there and just get out of it by hook or crook. Right now, he has been hit pretty good from time to time, but he's still hanging tough.
Schmidt tries to bunt. It's a good one down the third base line, up with a Guerrero. He'll hold on to it. The base hit for Mike. So a home run hitter has struck out twice in the game, having trouble with the screwball and the slants of Valenzuela. Drops one down the third base line. Not a bad idea when you're 2 down.
Outstanding. You need 2 runs. Now he's got somebody at first base to get things rolling. Reminds me of Steve Garvey, who does that frequently.
Garvey does that. Fellow that used to do it against us in World Series play with 2 strikes on him sometimes, Mickey Mantle.
You know why?
Why?
He knew he couldn't hit that pitcher out there.
That's what I mean. if you're having trouble with the pitcher, why not?
He'd say, well, he's got me. There's no chance to hit it. I may as well try to bunt it, and he did it often.
He did. Lestano, the batter, 0 for 3. But he hit a ball deep in the first inning, the base of the fence, some 370 feet away. Second pitch low, ball 1. So Scoop Snyder, along with Jerry Coleman, for tonight's game, the second in the best of 5. The Dodgers lead this one 3-1. Phillies won the first one 1-0. He's back again Friday afternoon for the third game in Philadelphia, Veterans Stadium. Pitch outside, ball 2. I don't think Tommy will go too far with Fernando. So Fernando has some problems here with Lestano. A couple right-handed batters coming up, Matthews and Maddox. Of course, there's LaFay and Gross on the bench. Lestano takes low, ball 3.
There's another man there, may not get the hit, but may have more power than both of them, Von Hayes, who's got a little punch in his bat.
He does, but Von Hayes went into a drastic slump in September. Just couldn't seem to buy a base hit. We saw a little bit of him late in September. Looked like a different hitter. Here's the 3-0. It's a call strike. Taking all the way, Lestano. Lestano checking signs with Dave Bristol, the third base coach. He's a little closer to the plate now. He was deeper in the box earlier in the game. In a crouch. Called strike right on the outside corner, about knee-high. You couldn't have walked up there and placed the ball in a better location.
That could be the pitch of the night. There's so many of them that have a bearing on the ball game, but getting that one over when he did.
Well, Mike Schmidt at first base now. Will he be on the move? No. And it's a ground ball to short, probably 2. The sack for 1 on the first double play. So Schmidt setting at second base, very dejected in the inning. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. In the middle of the 8th inning, the Dodgers 3, Phillies 1. Landro will lead it off here in the bottom of the 8th inning with the Dodgers leading 3-1. And all the Dodger pitchers are throwing now in the bullpen, getting some work. If the Dodgers will arrive late tomorrow afternoon, early in the evening, they're not going to work out at Veterans Stadium tomorrow. So everybody getting some work in the bullpen. Landro, the batter. Big swing, no contact. Check that. Looking at my scorecard, but it's a ball 1. There's a swing and a lazy fly ball into left field. Under it, Gary Matthews. He's got it. One away. Landro now 2 for 3 in this game. So Ron Reed has retired 4 in a row. This 40-year-old gentleman doing an outstanding job. Mike Marshall, the batter. Marshall 0 for 3. He's 0 for 7 in the series. Fouls one off the home plate umpire, Dick Stella. Looked like it was off his right shoulder. He's okay to count 0-1.
Those umpires take a beating, Duke. I don't think we really give him enough credit, especially that plate umpire. He gets beat to death throughout most games.
Boy, it's tough. It's a thankless job. You don't make too many people happy, do you? Count 0-2.
I don't know anybody who went up to an umpire and said, "Nice game, ump." It may have happened. I'm not aware of it.
Well, you only please, as far as the players are concerned, you only please half of them. There's a chopper to the right side, and there's sometimes that both teams are on you. You're not pleasing anybody. But you know, as many replays as we've had and many games as we've seen, very few times the umpires are wrong.
99.9. They get it right.
Marshall takes inside. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's a big right-handed batter now playing first base, waiting for Reed's next pitch, and he fouls it off. Count remains 1-2. A souvenir hit the press box area and bounded down to the lower level. They've moved the fences in here at Dodger Stadium to make the home run a little bit easier. It used to be 400 feet to center. 404 to be exact. But we moved it in some 9 feet. Count 1-2. Saw Willie Stargell hit one out of here one night in right field as Marshall foul tipped one out of the glove of Bo Diaz. He hit that thing right out of the bullpen area in right field, almost cut a palm tree in half.
One difficult part about Dodger Stadium, there's a lot of foul territory between the lines and the stands, and you can foul out an awful lot in this part.
Right. Marshall takes up and away for a ball.
Seems to me the batters at Wrigley Field have the best game going for them.
Well, you know you're in a slump if you foul out in Wrigley Field. Marshall swings and misses. Ron Reed retires his 5th man in a row and his first strikeout, and Bill Russell will be the batter. Russell, 2 for 3. He struck out in the 2nd inning, singled in the 4th, and a bunt single in the 6th. Right-handed batter chokes the bat about 4 inches, takes outside, ball 1. Now Schmidt back, not anticipating a bunt here with 2 outs. Now moves in a few steps as Russell takes inside, ball 2. Struck out in the 2nd inning, singled in the 4th, and a bunt single in the 6th. Right-handed batter chokes the bat about 4 inches, takes outside, ball 1. Now Schmidt back, not anticipating a bunt here with 2 outs. Now moves in a few steps as Russell takes inside, ball 2. Russell now 3 for 6 in the series. Pitch in there for a strike. An off-speed pitch. Russell took it. It's about letter high. Russell waiting. Check swing. It nicked the bat, rolls back to the screen area, and I believe Dick Stello got it again. Dick shaking his head, talking to Russell. He says, "Come on. You're going to swing. Don't take those check swings," because I usually take it. Now Diaz wants an appeal of some kind. First base umpire says no swing. Oh, it's 3-1. We'll have to change it. Thought it nicked the bat because the ball went all the way back to the screen. It did not. 3-1 the count. Russell takes way inside, ball 4. How about that? So instead of talking to Russell, Costello should have been talking to Diaz, and he should have caught that ball.
I'll say one thing. The umpires, when they get their dander up, they get a little active out there. They don't mess around much. You leave them alone, they'll do a good job. If you get them riled, then they'll go after you.
Jack Temple, the batter, 0 for 3. He swings and misses on a fastball up and in. The Dodgers really looking for a catcher, I think, more than anything else right now. Simple has done a job. Yeager has been injured. He has done a job, but not the kind of job they're looking for. Not the type of catcher they're looking for. They had a deal
all year.
Right. They had a deal made last season, the start of last season, last winter, to get one fouled off to the right side. Sundberg of Texas was supposed to come to the Dodgers for Bert Hooton. That deal fell through after they saw Sundberg's contract.
On top of that, Sundberg got beat out by somebody else down there this year, so maybe they got lucky.
Maybe they did. The 0-2 pitch, a pitch out, thinking that Russell might be on the move. 1 ball and 2 strikes and 2 outs. This game is sort of leveled off right now. There's a lull in the stands.
Everybody's waiting for the top of the 9th inning.
Waiting for the 9th. Here goes the runner. The throw by Diaz is low, and Morgan fielded the throw on one hop, but could not make a tag. A stolen base for Bill Russell. Diaz is not throwing well.
We wondered why he didn't throw last night with a tying run going down to second base. I think it was Darrell Thomas at the time, and now I think we know because his arm did not look effective, and I think if the Dodgers get a tip-off there, they may just run him wild before it's over.
They're going to try to. They've got several runners on the move, but have not recorded any stolen bases until this one. Count 3-2 now to Fimple with Fernando on deck. Ron Reed checking signs. Russell with a good lead at second base. Popped up at back of home plate and out of play to count 3-2, 2 outs. The Phillies have out hit the Dodgers 6-5, but they trail 3-1. Bottom of the 8th inning. 3 unearned runs. Or we could have a 1-0 game like we had last night. The 3-2 line drive, base hit into center field. Maddox coming after it. Will not throw Russell out. He'll throw into second base. And a big base hit right there by Jack Simple with the pitcher coming up next and first base open. How about that?
Duke, that might be the hit of the night. You go into the 9th inning leading by 2 and you feel pretty good. You go into the 9th inning leading by 3 and you feel, unless some disaster takes place, you got it.
Well, Jack Simple getting a big base hit right there. A hard shot to center. And the ball traveling out to center field like a knuckleball. And Maddox was going to try and charge it and make a play at the plate, but he had to lay back and see just how the ball was going to bounce. And that delay enabled Russell to score standing up. The throw went past second in towards the mound. Mike Schmidt got it. It's a 4-1 ball game, and Valenzuela will be the batter. That's the first earned run of the game. Fernando swings and misses, strike 1. For the Dodgers, the first earned run. The home run, of course, by Gary Matthews was earned by the Phillies. Fernando 0 for 2. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. Left-handed batter showed a little bit of sock with that long drive to center field earlier. He swings and misses here. The count 1-2. Maddox a long way to go to catch the ball. Caught up with it on the warning track. It went in his glove. He fell down. The ball popped out of his glove as he fell. A one-hopper towards short. DeJesus got it. He flips to Morgan for the force out on Fimple. In the inning, 1 run on 1 hit. There was a runner left. And at the end of 8 innings, scores the Dodgers 4, the Phillies 1.
In 1984, when you're looking for a place to take your family for a fun day that's affordable, think baseball. And when you're looking for a unique way to share some time with your family and friends at a very reasonable price, think baseball. When you're looking for a clean, wholesome family entertainment that won't break your budget, think baseball. And when you're looking for one of the best family entertainment buys around today, think baseball. You'll take your family out to the ballpark in 1984 and catch baseball fever that lasts forever. The preceding message furnished by Major League Baseball.
Red stars 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network.
CBS Radio for Sioux Falls and Sioux City. WNAX, Yankton.
Fernando Valenzuela taking his warm-up pitches. He'll face Gary Matthews, Gary Mannix, and Bo Diaz here in the ninth inning. Gary Matthews, who hit the home run in the second inning, the only Philly run. Right-handed batter. Valenzuela trying to complete this one. He had 9 complete games during the course of the season and 35 starts. Had 4 shutouts. He'll not get that tonight, of course, with the home run by Matthews. But he's pitched a strong game. He's pitched out of trouble, got several double play balls, very key double plays in different areas of the game. 3 big double plays that took the Phillies out of a couple of possible big innings. Matthews the batter. Here's the first pitch. A hard shot towards short. Russell backhands it, throws to first high, and it goes over Marshall's head into the photographer's booth, and Matthews will go to second. That'll be a hit and an error. A hit to the shortstop Russell, and then an error on Russell for the high throw. I'll be anxious to find out tomorrow how many pitches Valenzuela threw tonight. He's been in there a long time. He's thrown a lot of pitches, been in trouble a lot, and a lot of men on base. So it'll be kind of interesting to see whether he's up around 120 or 30 or wherever he's going. Shows how big that run was last inning, too, as the tying run would be coming to the plate right now. Instead, they have to get someone else on as Gary Maddox comes to the plate. We talked about the double plays in the 2nd, 5th, and 8th innings. Those are the plays that have saved Valenzuela. It's way outside and high for a ball. Maddox is 2 for 3, a single, a double, and a fly to center field. Valenzuela comes back with a pitch low. Rick Honeycutt and Tom Nugentfure in the bullpen for the Dodgers, and Tommy Lasorda is going to the mound, and I believe we're going to see a pitching change right here. As Fernando appears to be tired, he's fallen behind 2-0 to Gary Maddox, and Lasorda didn't like what he saw in the last 2 pitches. And he wants Nugentfure, the right-hander. Tom Lasorda wanted Fernando to finish this one, but it appeared that Fernando just ran out of gas. And now he's leaving the scene. He looks like he's a little bit upset. I think he said he felt all right, but why not get the fresh man in there in this particular spot? Fans giving Fernando a standing ovation as he comes out. Let's see if Gary Maddox stays in the ballgame. We talked about those left-handers, Joe Lefay and Greg Grace, who are available. And with the right-hander Nugentfure coming in, I see Grace walking up and down the dugout for Philadelphia with a bat in his hand. Oh, we have Bo Diaz and Ivan De Jesus coming up after Maddox, so there's quite a few spots that you can pinch hit in this situation. You know, one of the things we might mention, the count is 2-0 on the hitter. In fact, if Nugentfure ends up walking whoever it might be, that walk is going to be charged to Valenzuela. So Fernando's in a spot where he can win the ball game. He can't lose it. He's done an excellent job, but now it's up to the bullpen, and let's see what Nugentfure can do for the Dodgers. Yeah, Nugentfure, a hard throw. He was in last night's game, pitched 1 inning, and he struck out 1. And he's been the man to come into the ball game with Howe having his problems, and the man to come in and be the clutch man for the Dodgers throughout this season. And he's established himself as a good, steady relief pitcher for Los Angeles. And we see Greg Grace now loosening up, and he'll come up the bat for Maddox. So we're going to have a pitching change and also a hitting change with the count 2-0. You know, as we're waiting here, Jay, one time near the end of my career, and I knew definitely was the end of my career when this happened. I was playing for the Giants in San Francisco with the count 3-1 on Willie McCovey and Sandy Koufax pitching in Candlestick. McCovey swung and missed and hurt his side on a pitch. Count 3-2. Alvin Duck, the manager, came to the bench and said, "Dude, get a bat." Hit against Koufax in the bottom of the 8th inning with a count 3-2. Can you imagine that? I think that's cool. In fact, it seems to me Alvin Duck never really liked you. He was a Giant. He was a Giant. That's right. You know what? Koufax was laughing so hard he walked me. Quite a situation to be in, believe me, because Koufax just threw BBs. And I had water on both knees at that particular time. And by the time I got to home plate, it was crushed ice because it was so cold that night. So Greg Gross will come to the plate. And LeFay at the on-deck circle, he'll be batting for Bo Diaz. And Honeycutt continues to throw in the bullpen for the Dodgers. Tom Niedenfuhr on the mound in relief of Fernando Valenzuela, who went 8 innings plus a batter. And his responsibility here, of course, will be this batter, Greg Gross, if he walks. Pena throwing in Honeycutt, right-hander and left-hander. Niedenfuhr, big, strong right-hander. Count 2 balls and no strikes to Gross. First pitch, a fastball high, ball 3. Gross, a contact-type hitter, not a long ball threat. The outfield shading towards left, the infield the same way. Fastball, ball 4. So that walk will be charged to Valenzuela. And base runners at first and second, nobody out. And Joe LeFay will come to the plate. LeFay's kind of heating up here. They are a little bit. LeFay has some size. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but he finally found left field. Season batting average of 278, 85 hits, 8 home runs, 39 RBIs, 306 average. He did some good hitting for the Phillies down the stretch. So LeFay will step up there, and he represents the tying run. 4-1 Dodgers lead. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. Niedenfuhr kicks and fires, and LeFay swings and misses, strike 1. The pinch hit. Sit there the whole game, and finally all of a sudden you get the call. LeFay takes low for a ball. Al Holland throwing in the bullpen now for Philadelphia. LeFay 11 for 40 as a pinch hitter, a couple of home runs and 4 RBIs, so you have to be careful. Going out the mound to talk to his pitcher, Jack Semple. Tom Niedenfuhr towering above Semple. Now the meeting is broken up. LeFay steps in. Niedenfuhr getting comfortable on the mound to get his sign from Semple. Maddox at second base. Gross at first. Nobody out. The count 1-1. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss on a good fastball about letter high. And Von Hayes, who you mentioned earlier, Jay, at the on-deck circle. Ivan De Jesus also out there. Von Hayes, a left-handed batter, and a pretty good low fastball hitter. 1-2 the count. LeFay in the crouch. And he fouls one off the catcher, Semple. Pitch by him. He just got a piece of it. Took it right out of the glove of Semple. And the ball hit the bottom part of the bat and caught Semple in the leg. So LeFay taking a lot of time out of the batter's box now to get ready. Niedenfuhr with a new baseball has rubbed it up a bit. He's gone to the rosin bag, tugs at his cap. He's in a tight jam. He has a 3-run lead, but the Phillies are threatening. The 1-2 pitch misses outside a bit low. The count 2-2. The Phillies with a bit stronger bench than the Dodgers. And that could come into play throughout this series. LeFay waiting with the count 2-2. Niedenfuhr checks the runner at second base. They both have good leads. A swing and a miss. Niedenfuhr gets a big strikeout right there. And Don Hayes will come up to the plate. He'll bat for De Jesus. Don Hayes, a left-handed batter. The Phillies made a deal with Cleveland. Gave Cleveland a lot of players for Von Hayes. They thought Von Hayes was the answer. I talked to Pat Corrales earlier in the year when Pat was managing the ball club. He said, what does your club need? He says, a healthy Von Hayes. He had leg problems at the time. Von has not responded, has not really hit the way they thought he would. But 265 for the season, 32 RBIs, 6 home runs. Traded trio, Vukovic, Franco, Bauer, and Willard, 5 guys for Von Hayes. Trio ended up coming to the Expo. Here's the pitch to Vaughn. It's low, a throw to first base, diving back in Gross.
You know, one of those players in the trade group that Julio Franco turned into a crackerjack shortstop for the Indians. He's quite a ball player.
Well, Franco is a good ball player, but the Phillies were fooled, I guess, or maybe Hayes will arrive on the scene, maybe just rushed a little bit too much, but he really tapered off in the latter part of the year. Ozzie Virgil at the on-deck circle for the Phillies. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark occasionally, but Bond takes a strike. And you'll notice, we notice anyway here, I'm talking more to Jerry, and you'll notice that Von Hayes has a little hesitation in his swing. He's not sure of himself at the plate.
Well, he was really shattered in early going in Philadelphia. The fans were all over him. He was hurt. He had a bad arm, and it just was a bad start. I think next year it'll be a better indicator.
Could very well be. Hayes hits a little blooper towards short. Russell is under it, and he's got it for out number 2. Ball was not hit very hard. Russell made an easy play out of it. And Ozzie Virgil will come to the plate. Ozzie Virgil Jr. His dad is the third base coach for the San Diego Padres.
And the next one is in L.A. does a great job.
Oh, yes, he's a fine third base coach. Ozzie can hit a home run. There's no question about it. Tom Lasorda. I sent Ron Peronowski out the mound to talk to his pitcher. Virgil, as a pinch hitter, is 2 for 8, has a home run and 4 RBIs. And overall, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs, 7 doubles. Saw him hit a few out in batting practice tonight, and that's just about what the Phillies need now to tie this game up. They have runners at first and second, now 2 outs. Tom Newton here trying to save this one for Fernando Valenzuela. And Virgil now coming up to the plate. Joe Morgan on deck. Now, the Phillies would like nothing better than to have Virgil keep this alive for Joe Morgan. The fans standing here cheering Newton here on. Virgil has not stepped up to the batter's boxes yet. Now he steps in. Bangs the bat on top of home plate. In a crowd. Very close to home plate. Right-handed batter facing right-handed pitcher. A third, strike one. The Phillies, with 1 run, they have 7 hits. They've out-hit the Dodgers by 1. They trail 4-1. Matthews at second. Gross at first with 2 away. The next pitch, check swing, a little pop fly into the Philly dugout. So indecision there on a slow curve, and Virgil is behind 0-2. Virgil hit a grand slam near the end of the season to help the Phillies win a ball game that they were out of. That was a pinch hit grand slam, by the way. Ozzie steps back in. Tom Niedenkier gets his sign from the catcher, Jack Simple. Ozzie steps out again. Tight situation. 3 pinch hitters have been set up for 4 in a row now. First on a walk. Virgil with a straightaway stance, pumping the bat back and forth. The target's out over the plate. Third ball missed away. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers lead 4-1. Bottom of the ninth, 2 out. Phillies threatening. 2 runners on base. Niedenfuhr standing very erect at the mound, getting the sign from Simple. Shakes it off. Wants another. And nods his head yes. In the stretch. Here's the pitch. Curveball called strike 2. Ozzie Virgil takes a curveball right over the heart of the plate for strike 2. So the Dodgers win this one. In the inning, no runs, 1 hit. There was a error, a couple of runners left on base. And today's game is now history. The final score, the Dodgers 4,